Guys and girls, welcome to another Liverpool podcast in which we talk about other clubs more than we talk about Liverpool. Hey Buttercup, your favourite part of the week is here. You get to hear my dulcet tones for the next few hours.
Are you going to sing then, are you?
I don't know why I'm not singing. I'm not feeling it lately.
Oh, you're such a failure. You're let down. You're one fan. You actually, one of the people on the site actually said you said something funny last time. It stuck in my mind because I didn't believe him.
That's £5 a month direct debit working there, right? How you doing,
which
mate?
reminds me, before we start, I know this is out of the ordinary. Normally don't do this, but we've got a question on the I do the Ask the Editor podcast thing, and I get questions in. I had a question about about this podcast, and I thought better to do it on this one rather than because it makes more sense. Anyway, it's from someone called Holly in the US of A, who asks, why did I pick Ed Treble Six to do the podcast with me? She goes on, or he, I don't know, spouts quite a lot of. Doesn't say anything nice about you, actually, to be honest, following on from it. But we'll skip over what she said about you, or he said. I'm not sure which. I'm assuming it's a she. Anyway, so I basically, when I was thinking about doing a new podcast, I was speaking to me Auntie Jo because she's a showbiz agent. I said, what's the best way to do this? If you were talent spotting, what kind of act would you look at that you'd want to, would you want two like equal kind of comedy value, charming, witty, or what? And she said, no, to be honest, she said the best thing you can do is make yourself shine a bit more, find the dullest, most boring person you can possibly find, someone who's terrible at anecdotes, and so here we are. We got you, Ed Treble Six.
I complete you, Mr. Burke, and you know it. Shall we start with the MK Dons review, mate?
We can do. As you've seen it, so you'll be able to tell us all about it, won't you?
I actually didn't watch it. I was getting a haircut, and
you were getting a haircut when Liverpool were playing. Oh, you are low.
Let me explain, right?
This is going to take some explaining. This one.
Number one,
was it not a manicure or a pedicure then?
No, it was a haircut and a shave. It was a haircut and a shave, but I was in a dire need of a haircut, and this was the only time. And this was the only time she could fit me in. So it was either watching Liverpool in the League Cup or getting a haircut. But to be fair, I haven't missed a game in centuries, so I was due one. Anyway, talk me through it. What happened?
It was a bit disjointed. I've written a lot of notes, so I'm trying to figure out where to go from. I mean, it was very disjointed, really. Obviously, bunch of kids with a few things. But, I mean, mostly it was the kids carrying the experienced players. Lallana played deep, which didn't suit him at all, and he looked terrible till he moved forward. He was making errors and not looking where he was going and dawdling and nearly losing the ball. Brewster struggled badly to get into it, got no service. Casey didn't do enough.
Is that because he's struggling performance-wise, or is it just he starved of service?
Who, Brewster?
Yeah.
He didn't get any service, but he didn't. When he did get the ball to him, he didn't really make the most of his opportunities. But he didn't really get enough service to be you can't really critique his performance because he just didn't get enough of the ball, really.
So, okay.
Curtis Jones was really good on the ball, but then his final ball each time, his decision making was terrible. He's does some lovely touches and that, worked quite hard, but then he'd make a mess of what he'd get himself in a good position and then waste the final ball. Raz Elliott was totally different. Great delivery from wide areas.
So yeah, from what I can gather, it was the Harvey Elliott show, right?
I don't know. Kelleher'd be arguing with that. He had a good game. Very
assured. Yeah, I was going to say.
Flapped at a
with a
couple
little
of
bit of
crosses, mind. But apart from that, he looked really good. Very quick off his line and that.
confident, astute.
Yeah, he looked really assured, is what I put down.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
our
yeah, yeah,
first
yeah,
goal
yeah.
was lucky, admittedly. Their keeper made a mess of it.
I
But
saw 6 minute highlights, but what I could see of those highlights, the keeper was strutting his stuff. He looked very confident.
oh, yeah, he was really. The problem I noticed the thing that I didn't like was Hoover at right back. Didn't get forward at all. The one time he did, he went and scored. So it made me feel like, because I'd written down, still not making, not getting forward enough. I've written it down quite a few times, still not making the runs, that kind of thing. And then he goes and scores. He makes one run forward and he scores. And it made me feel, when you just think, point proven.
He's not a right. He's not going to be groomed as a right back though. He's being groomed as a centre back, isn't he? Or is he going to be a right back playing centre back?
Pushed out there now because of Van der Beek's arrival. I think if he's going to make it in the team, he's probably going to have to be a right back now.
Is that so? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think Van der Beek will take the centre if anyone does. Because we had Gomez and Lovren playing, and I love Gomez. So this is really, hate to say this, but he was terrible. Yeah. He was sleepwalking through the game. Lovren was carrying him. And people were complaining about Lovren, but he was having to he was having to cover for him all the time. And he was... Yeah, Gomez was really lacking awareness. We know it's a problem anyway, but with him. But he was particularly bad in that game.
He usually lets his pace get him out of trouble. Yeah, what he lacks in awareness, his pace makes up for it. But that injury has really hit him hard, right?
He just seemed like he wasn't, he wasn't looking or anything. He was kept constantly. You could see him go, oh, when you have that, oh God, suddenly notice and try and react, and he still got the pace there. He still looks quick, but he was just so far off it. It was. I tell you what, I did notice though, the game moved along so much quicker without VAR. A much better game. It flowed better and all that. It was much more enjoyable. Even though the football wasn't as good as we normally see in it flowed so much nicer.
I was wondering how long it would take you to mention the V word. But,
anyway, but it's only because it did. I mean, I even made a note of it. I was saying it just moves so much better. You know what I mean? It actually feels like football rather than like a bit of a mess.
A rugby game or an American football game or something.
It's just stop, start. And that's why I don't like them sports. So I really don't want to watch it. When I'm watching footy, that's why I like it. It's because it doesn't tend to be stop-start.
Interesting. Going back to Gomez, do you think this is a blip or do you think this is something more serious?
He's just getting himself back together. He's just got, he's not playing regularly, is he, in the first team?
Right.
As he was. So
this isn't the big.
He's just not sharp, is what I'd say.
Right. This isn't the beginning of the end of his Liverpool career or something.
Oh no, I think he just looked like he wasn't match sharp. He was just like, oh God, you know what I mean? Should have done. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, his decision making is off because he's not playing games.
Yeah, and he's like, he should have been aware and looking around. He just wasn't because he's so busy ball watching, which is what you do when you're not up to speed. You do tend to get caught ball watching because your mind isn't up with it.
Has he got the fitness levels, or is it just not just match sharp?
Well, he didn't struggle to make it through the 90 minutes, did he? So I think it's just match fitness he lacks.
Okay, all right. Talk to me about Harvey Elliott because everybody is going absolutely doolally over him.
Well, he showed good skill and good composure and put in some great balls as well. His delivery was really good. He's a bit like a left-footed Trent, really.
On the right, do you think he played on the right, correct?
Yes.
Right midfield, right wing.
Yeah.
Natural heir to Salah.
I tell you what, possibility. It depends on how long how long Salah stays for, really. Because he's only 16. You've got to remember, he's still only 16 or 17, whatever it is. I can't remember.
Exactly
17?
Right. I mean, no, he's not 17 yet.
No,
but I wanted to ask you.
I wanted to check, before I said 16, like.
So yeah, that brings me to the next question. Which one of these kids is who out of these kids is first team ready? I mean, 16, I doubt it'd be. I mean, he's knocking at the door. I don't think they'll let him come in anytime soon. Is that too young? It's surely.
You're old, if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Yeah, I get that, but
But
the thing is, I mean,
for the role he's likely to get, yeah, for a few sub appearances, yeah, he certainly looked ready. Certainly looked more ready than, say, Lallana or Gomez.
Lallana
Whereas
hasn't been first team ready.
Lovren did his usual. He started off, made a couple of mistakes, but obviously, like Gomez, he's not match sharp. So you can live with a couple of mistakes first few minutes. He did make a couple of errors, but then he made up for it and he got going. He was fine after that. Whereas Gomez, it just didn't seem to come that game at all. It didn't seem to come to him at all. But he needs to play more games simply.
Yeah, but Gomez and Lovren are first team squad players.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm talking about
Elliot looked good. That's what I'm saying. Elliot looked as ready as them. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying so just because of his age, you can't really rule him out because of that. He's strong enough. He's big enough.
It really does bamboozle me. That I'm incredulous at the fact that the kid is 16. I remember when I was 16, I was like, let's face it.
You remember back then?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is,
that was in the days when everything was black and white and everything.
But I'm trying to.
Please just don't start talking about the war again. That's all.
Which one?
Exactly.
Which one?
Crimean was the one you normally talk about.
Exactly. Yeah. That was a ball war for me, mate. Listen. You have to go. There you go again with your context and your and your facts. Just go with it, will you?
Yeah, but you're just terrible at these jokes things. So I have to point out you're wrong, like.
All right, mate. I was going to say, it just surprises me. I know that Wayne Rooney was a first-team player at 16, a normal Whiteside.
Yeah, some people are ready. Some people grow up earlier. I didn't, but some people do. I mean, I was a late bloomer, so I was tiny at 16. I was only 5'2" or something at most.
Mate, let me tell everyone, I've seen you, and I've seen your waist. You definitely ain't tiny anymore.
No, I ain't tiny, but then I took, I did a lot of weight training and that after I left school. So
what you mean? You discovered McDonald's?
McDonald's couldn't afford McDonald's, mate. I'm not posh like you,
mate. Let's not make this all about you. Do you know what I mean? This is about Harvey Elliott.
Yeah, to me, physically, he doesn't look far off a fully grown adult. I wouldn't want him if it was a case of them saying, Salah's out injured, he's going to play every week. No. Right. Not ready for that. What I'm talking about is him to be a sub, and maybe the odd game against a lower, a less like in the cups, like now, rather than Everton. Saying. Yeah, or a weak team like, Newcastle or someone.
Yeah. Watford or something. He could come in Watford, 20 minutes, a 20-minute cameo or something
Brewster,
like that.
He's ready for that kind of, you'd hope. If he isn't, then there's a problem if Brewster isn't. My biggest worry, I've got to say, was Keita. He didn't do enough at all.
I doubt he's fit, mate, to be honest with you.
It's not just that. He should have been, before the first half, in the first half as well, just at the end of the half, terrible dive. He should have been booked. Well,
what's going on with him? I mean, are we going to wash our hands of him? Are we going to give him time? I mean, I know there's been some issues behind the scenes as well. I mean, has he tidied up his act?
Well, his English still isn't that good, is it? And that, yeah, I mean, it's...
Nor's yours, but nobody complains about you.
Yeah. My English is terrible.
Mate,
a friend of mine, this is
true. A
website. This is true, right? I got told...
Your English ain't worth...
I went with some friends at college doing the IELT, the International English Language thing. And he's asked us to help them with the English bit of it, like, obviously, because they want to pass the English to go work in Canada, I think it is. Anyway, so the instructor, the tutor, was telling me I was wrong with my English. Honestly, I'm like, what do you mean I'm wrong? That's not how you pronounce this. That's not how you spell this. That's not how you say. That's not what the English would say. He was saying. I said, look, mate. I think you might need to wind your neck in a bit, because I think I might know better than you what the English would say.
Mate, you can't speak English and you edit a website.
I know,
so there you go.
But obviously my English is that bad that they actually telling me how to speak English.
The Canadians.
No, he was Indian or Indian or one of them. One of like Sri Lanka, one of those areas, Nepal, that area, like.
Yeah. Southeast Asia.
Yeah, that's the word. I couldn't think of the area. There, that's it. Southeast Asia. No, Southeast.
Indian subcontinent or
Southwest.
Southeast Asia.
Wouldn't be. Southeast is Vietnam and that.
No, it's just the Philippines is.
Yeah, that's Southeast. That's what confused. That's what I was trying to think of. The other, it's the Indian subcontinent, isn't it? That's what they call it. I couldn't think of the words. Yeah. Anyway, he's telling me about English. I was thinking. Yeah, I must need to go back to school.
Cater, what's going on with him? Is he still hasn't improved his English and his? I
don't know. He's had a lot of injuries, so it's just. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with him. I'm really starting to think he might end up being ended up. He's only got a few more months, really, hasn't he, to make it?
Yeah, that's true.
If he doesn't make it this season, I think it's it.
Yeah, totally agree. Because, he's got his best mate. He's got a brother in arms with him in Mane. He's got he's got a coach who's the best man manager on the planet. And if these two can't do it for him, he's got that support network. He's never going to do it, really. Let's face it.
Yeah, you can't wait forever when you paid that much money.
Nah. Exactly. You might just wash your hands, mate, if it's not working. Sometimes it doesn't. I wanted to talk about Keller. Is that how you spell it? Pronounce it Keller? Kelleher. Because I don't know. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that Adrian leaves at the end of this season and goes to be the number one somewhere. I'm sure he's going to get plenty of offers. So, is Kelleher ready to step up for a number two?
He looked more than ready, mate. He looked like a number one in waiting.
Oh my God!
I was really impressed with him.
Wow, that's really
but
inspiring.
He's at the age. If he was an outfield player, you'd be expecting it. To be honest, it's only because he's a keeper and they tend to mature a bit slower. So.
See, the problem is now if he's that gifted, he isn't going to stay around to be a number.
Well, this is the problem. This is the problem we've already had. He's trying to ward off interest.
Yeah, the only thing I see is they throw a load of money at him for him to stay, but then he'll get that money as a number one somewhere.
We could just put a buyback clause in. Speak to him, say, look, we know we'd only hold you back. Or, if he's not happy with just going out on loan and staying as a, on a contract with Liverpool, you just stick him out. You just say to him, well, we understand it's your, you need to get games, first team games for your career and all that, but we really don't want to lose you. So we're going to sell you, but we want a buyback clause because we'd like to bring you back in time. We're thinking your future might be with us as a number one keeper. Why not?
Who's going to come back? Alisson Becker's at the club. No one. He's got 5 years at least.
Well, exactly. So he's got 5 years. That's why I'm saying it's not fair on him to hold him back. He can go away 5 years, go, play for a team like, say, Leicester or whatever, one of those kind of teams. Make a name for himself and then bring him back when he's ready. Possibly. You can't tell, obviously, because you can't really plan that far ahead in football. But
yeah. I just think. Well, I honestly think that Adrian will be off after this season. Did we only signed him for a season, or was it a 2-year contract we gave Adrian?
Oh, do you know what? I can't remember now. I thought we had a 2-year contract, but I can't remember now. You've said it, and I'm wondering now.
Well, if somebody comes in for him, right, at the end of the season for 15 million, we'd think about that, surely, no?
Yeah, but I can't see anyone paying 15 million for him. The question is whether he'd want to go, because he's loving it.
He's loving life, yeah.
Yeah.
Even
just being in Liverpool, he's just got, everything you see is him at the park and stuff.
The way he's on the field, he's shouting at people, geeing them up. He's like really, really part of the fabric there now. He's not a shrinking violet at all. He's having a moan at his defenders, and it's really good to see.
Yeah, he's been really good. Sorry, I was trying to load up. It wouldn't load up. Just trying to see what his contract was. I couldn't remember. But
okay.
Good. It won't load up. The page won't load up, so I've given up.
All right, mate. So, all right. So you believe in Kevin. So that's good to hear. Arsenal at home the next game. Will he go with the kids again, or a little stronger as it's Arsenal?
Well,
Arsenal go strong.
If it's Arsenal.
Oh, we might get kicked out, before that.
Yeah, are we going to discuss that now? May as well, might we?
Let's do that now. Yeah. What do you think, mate?
Well, from what I've reading up about it and that, it happened to Sunderland a few years ago. They had a similar clerical error where it's just an admin error, or with what we're claiming it to be. Anyway, obviously, not having seen the paperwork, it's difficult to be sure. But they say basically they're saying it's an admin error, and he should have been included and wasn't, sort of thing. They're saying it's just a mistake. If so, the only previous incidents I can find in recent years of it happening in the League Cup was Sunderland, and they did it with Ji Dong-woo or whatever his name was, a South Korean player. And he also played 4 Premier League games with the same admin still hanging, with the admin not completed.
Right.
And they got fined for all 5 games.
So would this go to court, or would there just be an FA thing internal?
It'd be an FA thing. So EFL, sorry. So it wouldn't be them. It'd be the Football League.
Thing.
Sorry.
So if the Football League...
Harry's in charge of it. I'll forget it. We're gone. Oh, God.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, for God's sake, I forgot about that.
I think he won't kick his old club out. Surely not. He'll never be allowed on Merseyside again. He's probably got family and friends there.
But what I'm thinking is, if he doesn't, everyone's going to claim he went soft because it's Liverpool.
No way. He hasn't got the balls. He isn't going to go against his hometown club. No effing chance. No way. That would be a fine.
How many years when he was in charge of us going against us?
There's no chance, mate. There's absolutely no chance he'll do that.
It depends on which is worth more to his pockets, let's be honest, because that's the only way he's thinking. That's all he ever cares about is money.
I forgot he was the new chairman of the EFL, Football League. So, I wouldn't worry about that. I think it'll be a fine, even if that.
It'll be a fine at least. It has to be, because we've broken the rules and we've admitted it, so...
Yeah, no, I'm not worried no more. I'm not worried about it. So what do you think? Do you think Arsenal will go strong, or we will go strong, or do you think, again, with a couple of senior players coming back from injury?
It'll be a mixed, I think. Both teams will go pretty mixed. They'll rest some of the players. I can see us resting like Salah, Mane and Firmino at least.
Yeah, we need those. We don't need any... accidents with those 3, that's for sure.
Probably Fabinho will sit it out as well.
Sorry?
Fabinho will no doubt sit it out as well.
Yeah, I'd say, really, to be honest with you, I'd be happy with the same team. Not that I watched the game.
I was going to say, I would say Manaway. Yeah. I don't think anybody really is. Much as we all want to win it, win everything we enter, I'm not sure any of us would want to risk a too strong a team and then have players in. I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? It depends on when it shows up, what kind of form we're in, and all those kind of things.
Yeah. Mate, just stop it right there. Just pause it right there, mate, please.
Go.
All right, fella, let's move on to the Sheffield United review. I don't know. We were humbled.
Were we?
Sorry?
We won, didn't we? Am I missing something?
Yeah.
We should have had a
penalty.
We did. It was a blatant penalty,
but...
and how the referee didn't see it. I mean, how the VAR didn't see it, I'll never know. He never even. He took like a split second, so he obviously didn't even look at all the angles. He didn't have time.
Yeah, it was a quick decision. I think it just compounds your notion that that I don't know, these minions in the VAR offices in Stockley Park have no kahunas, not wanting to undermine their superiors.
Yeah, couldn't have been. I mean, there was no way he had time to watch every angle to see whether it was a foul or not. No way, not possible.
Listen, in real time, I wasn't sure if it was a penalty, but with the benefit of hindsight and slow motion pictures, etc., that was a penalty. He was late, and he would have had no complaints if that penalty been given.
And
but
that's exactly why you're supposed to have VAR. So what's the point in it if it's not going to catch things like that?
And we've been screwed twice by VAR now, both penalties as well. The matchup against Newcastle.
More than
and
twice,
now
but
Mane...
2 penalties in particular.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. So, anyway, we had a week off. I don't understand the performance, really.
To be fair, Sheffield United, they play a different system from anybody else. They play their own way. This overlapping centre-backs thing and all that, it is a difficult system to work out because it is different from anybody else. They don't play, and they give 100%. Not one of those players stops working for a second. They run themselves into the ground. That's a big plus, and they give you new things to have to work out. You know what I mean? You're having to. It's the Pep Linders thing where you're having to problem solve in the middle of a game, and that's what we were having to do. I mean, they're getting in behind Trent. Matip was slow to spot the danger, so you could see Henderson reorganising. Trent started staying a bit deeper. Henderson was coming across more, and they were covering it. You know what I mean? And they figured out how to cope with it. So that's how come we started dominating the ball later on.
Clearly, Chris Wilder is a student of the game. He's a forward-thinking and innovative coach. But I don't know, man. The overlapping centre backs. I didn't see much of that on Saturday.
Well, no, because they never really got a chance. But still, you're having to deal with wing-backs and knowing that the centre-back might come up as well. It does make a difference because you're having to cover, you're having to keep some, you can't have, you don't want Salah coming back to cover because then that overlapping centre-back can overlap. So you need to keep Salah pushed on, which means you've then not got him able to track back and cover.
So there's lots of space for them to exploit the likes of Trent, etc.
Yeah, well, Trent's caught with extra play. He's caught having to decide, does he drop back onto the forwards, that's coming out there, or does he cover the wing-back? If he covers the wing-back, there's a forward getting in behind him. If he covers the forward, then he's being pulled inside and the wing-back's getting in the space that's left.
Right.
It's a problem to be solved.
Right, no, and like you say, it was in-game management, but I mean, I still felt we were bad, but we still fashioned 3 gilt-edged chances that we should have scored from Mane.
Yeah, that ball over the top from Van Dijk, which was bloody delicious.
Oh my God, that would just split the whole. It was just cutting. It was like Oh, it was delicious, yeah.
Well, there was a lot more
But
to
it
it
just
as well because Firmino drops off, pulls the central centre back with him slightly. He
centre
only
back,
had to
yeah,
go. He only
Sterling,
had to
yeah.
go a couple of yards. You know what I mean? And then there's a space in between. And Mane saw it
But
and made the run, and the ball was
it,
perfect. It's
it
three
was big as
players did brilliantly there.
it was big as a black hole. That kind of space. It was massive. I mean, he had. I couldn't believe he didn't put it on target, let alone score. It was just
Yeah,
a.
when it's Mane, you just think, oh, that'll be in the back of the. Oh my God, yeah. Well, what happened? Like, but
Exactly, and he hit the post, and then Salah had a one-on-one. I mean, if we play like that and still fashion three gilt-edged chances to score, I mean, I'll have that every week. To be honest with you,
and you know, there was quite a few. There was quite a few performances where the players didn't look like Robbo looked a bit off the pace and things like
yeah,
that. Razmati was excellent, I thought. I know I said
I
about
thought
him
Van
being
Dijk
slow
was
to
excellent.
recognise danger, but that was in the first few minutes while they were organising it. Once they'd reorganised
He,
and knew what they were doing, he was excellent. Some of his passing was brilliant from the back.
I thought Van Dijk was great as well, but I
Yes, yeah,
thought that
well, yeah, that guy, I just didn't mention that because it's kind of like, it goes without
standard, yeah,
saying, really,
exactly,
doesn't it?
yeah, yeah. But Matip, it was like the ball was glued to his. I mean, he got to. I mean, I can't remember how many times he headed that ball out. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and when I have to mention it, obviously, because I criticised Matip in the past, so I have to mention it, especially when
Yeah.
he's had a good game. Otherwise, people will think I'm just jumping on the back of him already. So. But yeah, it was
No,
really
he's
good. It
he's
was good passing as well, which is one thing that has been a bit off in the last few. He was actually getting those slide rule passes were going through.
yeah. But I didn't think he was taking that many chances with his passing on Saturday.
I think he was a bit quicker to
They
everything.
were sticking.
Mm,
They were sticking basically those passes. Yeah. Did you hear how I said Saturday? I said it in an American accent. Saturday. Didn't you? It was subtle.
no, I didn't really notice it. I try not to listen when you
Well,
speak, to be honest.
mate. Well, I've had the weekend to reflect on it, and the champions get 3 points even when they're playing not on their metal. So United used to do it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we weren't at our best, but they didn't really.
Yeah.
I
But
mean, they
taking
made a
nothing away
couple of
from Sheffield
chances, but
United,
they didn't really if you counted up the chances, at the end of the day, we were the better side, really. So
it was more pressure from them, but it was sustained pressure. They didn't give us a minute to breathe.
yeah, they were really
I
good.
thought,
I'm really pleased. I really like the way they play, to be honest. I know they can be a bit
yeah,
overly physical at times, but they're really good to watch.
I honestly didn't. I know people were saying that they used some shithouse tactics, but I don't think they were overly physical. I thought they were just. I mean, I don't think they were illegal. I just think they were physical. I think
No,
within
I
the
didn't
rules
think
of
they
the
were bad
game.
against us. I'm talking about in general.
Yeah,
I'm saying I quite like watching
yeah,
them anyway. I watched them quite a few times last season when people were moaning about them, and I thought they were
yeah.
good to watch. I thought they weren't
Right.
really. They can be, they throw themselves into it, but I don't think it's like. It's not like a Burnley side where they're being physical to be physical. I think it's just that they're putting everything in and they're leaving nothing on the table
Yeah,
at all. And that's where their
yeah,
physicality comes from, where they're just giving it everything.
yeah. They're not a Billy Bremen and Leeds United in the '70s kind of thing.
No, nothing like that at all. They just
Yeah.
don't. They
I
just
think,
sometimes they're like a split second too late because they're trying to get to balls. They've
yeah,
got no chance of getting to, but they refuse to give them up.
exactly. Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, take nothing away from them. They were hugely impressive. I really think both the promoted teams will stay up, Norwich and Sheffield United.
Both. There is three. You know that, don't you? Three get
Yeah, there is a
promoted.
three.
Yeah, Aston Villa.
Yeah. But I think, yeah, Villa. I think Norwich and United will stay up for
Right.
sure.
What about Villa?
I don't know. I think it's too early to tell with Villa. I think they given up 8 points from winning positions already.
Something. To be fair, not always through their own fault. I mean, VAR's cost them badly this season.
VAR's cost them 2-3 points at least, doesn't there? Yeah, you're right.
I think it
The
cost
Grealish one.
Yeah, and well, that wasn't points, but it has in a few points. You know what I mean? Like giving up goals and stuff all through. So yeah, they've been really hit hard by it.
Well, I didn't think we started that badly. We were on the front foot, and then they just got into their like hassling and harrying and possession. Well, not possession, but they just started getting into their game a bit more because we started pretty well. We were on the attack from second one.
Yeah, at times we got real good possession, and they're a really difficult side to break down. They're well organised, they're committed. I mean, they're reminiscent of a Klopp side, to be honest.
I was hugely impressed with.
Right.
Yeah. I was very impressed by their left back Fleck. He was tenacious.
He wasn't their left
back. Up and down that wing. Well, their
Ender
right back.
Stevens was their left back.
Who was their Fleck? Was their what
Fleck's a midfielder.
Fleck
Used to play for Rangers. Yeah. John Fleck. He's Scottish.
Is he Robert Fleck's son?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking of the right player. Yeah, he's a really good player. I was surprised they let him go.
Yeah. But didn't Fleck used to play? His father used to play for Norwich, right?
Yes. If I'm thinking, I think it's Robert Fleck's son. Anyway, as far as I'm aware,
yeah. But then we had the non-penalty awards, so that would have been. I think the game would have been obviously it'd have been a different game had we converted our chances and we'd had that penalty. I think
we had some good chances as well, so which normally you'd expect us to finish. They just seemed like nobody had their shooting boots on. So nice to see Ginny score away from home.
Yeah. I think that it was what a great goal as well, straight through the keeper's legs.
Yeah.
And his arms.
Yeah. It wasn't as bad as the one in the MK Dons game where he literally threw it in the net for us. But yeah.
What the one that I was getting my hair cut for?
Yeah, Milner's goal. Yeah. He literally throws it in the net for us. It's like, cheers, mate.
Now, are you concerned at all about our finishing last? I think last couple of games. Are you worried at all?
You go through patches like that. No player can be perfect. I remember Rush going ages without, where he'd have bad runs and it just wouldn't go in, and then suddenly one would bounce in off his backside or something, and then he couldn't stop scoring again. It just happens with strikers. Right. It's a difficult job, to be honest.
Mate, for shits and giggles, I had a peek at the Man City forum. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's called Blue Moon. It's one of their fans forums. Mate, if you ever having a bad day and need of a pick-me-up, just spend 5 minutes on that Blue Moon forum. Your life will seem immediately 300 times better. It's hilarious. They were incandescent with rage. They really think that it's a conspiracy and we've bought the FA and they're saying we're cheating and we're lucky. We're either lucky or we're cheating. One of them can't be both. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's so
is this
funny.
Really Man City complaining about that? I mean, of all the teams that could complain about other teams getting the rubber to green, I don't think they're in a position they haven't been since Sheikh Mansour took over. Not that I'm suggesting his billions would have contributed in any way to their particular brand of luck, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's cheated financially or anything, so why would we think that there might be a possibility that they'd done it in any other way? I mean, no.
Mate, it's you've got to have a go and have. I mean, if you get some time, just get onto that forum on a match. That is hilarious. They really don't like us. They really don't. Do you want to get to the player ratings?
This could take a while because I know how slow you are at this. We better add that, Cheek.
Yeah.
Because I want to get to bed sometime this week.
Right. Adrian, I gave him a 7. He screwed up when he came for a cross through a sea of bodies. I felt he should have gathered the cross. When that I think their forward is named. I think it's Clark. He missed
Leon
right
Clark.
in the dying. Yeah, 34. That guy. Is this his first Premiership
Debut.
appearance?
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Good for him, man. Good for him. I felt his distribution could have been a tiny bit better, but he kept a clean sheet. He's getting a bit of a rep for time wasting, which I'm not sure is justified.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, he takes the same amount of time over anyway. He takes a long time anyway, so it's like I don't think it's time wasting. I think he just genuinely isn't sure. He's still getting the hang of what to do, isn't he? He's not like. It's just this new thing for him. He's not played in a team like ours before, has he? I mean, he was at West Ham. They tend to play out from the back. They knew what he knew where he was. But they didn't tend to play. They didn't have this short free kick, goal kick situation to worry about. So I think they should be cutting goalkeepers in general a bit of slack on the time wasting this season. They're going to have to. They're going to have to just go to a stop clock or something. Otherwise, Otherwise, it's just ridiculous.
You know what? I hope that doesn't happen because the referee's got a watch in his hand, the stopwatch. And it's going to turn into frigging American football by the time or basketball by the time we.
No, if you just have a timekeeper when the ball goes out of play, the clock stops, and so there's no reason to time waste. Then is there?
So why can't the referee do that?
Because he's got to remember to stop it and then start it again. They did trial it. They did trial that, but it's so easy to forget to start it or forget to stop it. Why can't he just say?
The goalkeeper's got the ball. He's put it down. It's for a goal kick. And he can just say the referee can count 1 potato, 2 potato, 3. How difficult is that?
Well, what's the point when you could just have a timekeeper? You've got a fourth official who's doing bugger all else. Why not just use him?
What you're saying is they should have a maximum amount of time they take over a goal kick.
No, I said they should have a timekeeper who stops the clock. When it's so.
Gotcha. So that will be added at the end in stoppages, etc.
No, just literally stops the clock. So if it's 10 minutes in, the ball goes out of play, the clock stops. So when the ball gets kicked again, it starts again.
Oh, I see what you mean. Gotcha. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I don't know why they've talked about it loads of times. The FAs and that, the UEFA and FIFA and all them have spoken about it many times. But they keep saying, "Oh no," because because at the moment they only play something on average like 56 minutes of actual play during a 90-minute game, and they're saying the players might not physically be up to 90 minutes, a full 90 minutes.
Yeah. Or would you not consider? Would they not consider having a maximum amount of time on a goal kick, like 10 seconds? I think that's enough to get the ball out of the box.
Yeah, the problem is, because they've changed the rules, teams are not sure how to handle it. And this is where the problems are coming. So I'm saying they need to give them a bit of slack this season because they're coming short for it. And then players, the opposition are closing them in. So they're having to go longer. It's not necessarily time waste. It's just teams are not sure what to do. They're changing their minds. They've got to do
Why have they brought this rule in? Why have they brought this rule?
Because Man City kept not kicking it out of the box constantly, and the referee was never making them take it again. And what was happening was they were seeing that somebody was coming to close them down, so they were stepping in the box and kicking the ball, which is meant to, it stops playing and they're getting it retaken. And Man City in particular were doing this on every game when they should have been losing the ball because a player was about to go and get it. An opposition player, and the defenders shouldn't have been allowed to take it, basically. But, it was obviously a glitch in the rules because he could just go and get it, and then it goes back to a retake. So they've stopped the attacker having a chance. And they weren't, they were obviously, it's to me, that's professional foul if you're deliberately stepping in to kick the ball. So it should have been a booking, but they weren't, they weren't doing, because this was happening time and time again, not just Man City, obviously it happened in other games as well. Rather than, that was the way to get around it.
And then give the opposition an indirect free kick from when he was encroaching into the box or something.
Yeah, rather than change it to do that, they decided to just do away with it having to leave the box. So
Yeah, that'd soon stop if they started giving free kicks inside the box.
Yeah, exactly. That's the ways you
Yeah,
deal with it. Would have been, should have
yeah,
been.
yeah, exactly. All
Uh,
right, mate. Moving on to Joel Matip.
oh yeah, we're doing
I
the.
gave him a
I
nine.
forgot. I forgot what we were doing. I was wondering why we were moving on to.
We Oh no, that was the Adrian player rating, but I'm on
Yeah.
to Trent next. I thought
So
I
who are
gave
we
him a
doing?
five. Trent.
Trent. You only gave him a 5.
Yeah, I thought he was schooled, mate. I didn't think
Really?
I didn't think he had his best game. Yeah, I thought he was poor positionally and offensively, and his crossing weren't up to much. And I think he
Yeah.
had a poor game in general.
Crossing went up too much, but he did well defensively. They reorganised and he dealt with a threat when he was being overrun before. They were getting in behind, so he just dropped off.
I I don't agree, mate. I just thought he wasn't as good as he normally is.
No, it wasn't at his best, but I
didn't have
think
a good game.
5's a bit harsh. I
Yeah,
would have said 6, but there you go. Maybe 6.5
yeah,
at
well,
most. His crossing was off. So, and
yeah. I didn't. I mean,
the free kicks. Oh God, why did they tap it to the side in that position when he's got a shot? Just hit it for.
yeah, yeah. I mean, listen? What's your position on the free kicks? I'm glad you mentioned it because it seems like Trent is taking the majority of them, and
Yeah.
Hendo, Salah, and Trent are in the huddle. They're all covering their mouths. They don't want people to hear what they're saying, and then
They don't want
Trent
TV cameras to pick up what they're saying. Because if they're given an instruction, they've probably got code word instructions for certain moves, and they don't want to give it away so they can use it continuously, the same code words. Because what used to happen is people figured out what the code word was at like a corner, what type of corner you're going to play, and they knew how to they could defend it specifically.
They decoded it. Like, what would be the code? What I mean, what?
Well, it'd be like, say you'd have and you'd want to play a near post ball. You might say 1.
Pineapple.
Something simple like that, right. Yeah, or pineapple or whatever. Right. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's whatever the team decides. But they just have a code, and it'd be like, say, they might stand there and they'd say if it's a far post, they might say we're going to play a 3-5 or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just a simple thing that they can all remember, so they know.
Right.
But if you're defending and you know it's going near post, you can react differently. You can prepare yourself for it, set your defence to deal with that. So.
But there's no point. I mean, what's the point of them being in a huddle? Trent takes them all anyway, so...
Well, it's whether it's knocking it to the side for him or whether he's just going to take it direct seems to be the only thing at the moment. And it worked once knocking it to the side, but that was from an angle. It's, and worked a couple of times, actually, because that one to Robertson worked as well, didn't it?
Yeah, but let's face it, mate. Our set pieces are working much better than they have been in recent seasons. So I'm very happy.
Oh yeah.
Are you?
Go on.
Go on, mate.
No, go on. You.
So you happy with Trent taking the majority of the?
Yeah, definitely. He's the best free kick taker in the team. Why wouldn't he be?
Gotcha. All right,
Who else would you put on it? I mean, you look at it.
Salah's a good free kick taker.
But is he as good as Trent?
Well, in different.
He takes the corners from the left side.
He's pretty bad. I don't like him taking corners, to be honest with you. I don't think he's the greatest corner kick taker in the world.
Well, it's not just that. I'd rather he was in and around the box because of his pace.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got that intuitive nature, goal scorer's nature.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. With his pace and he's sniffing, he might pick up the loose balls.
Exactly. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely agree with you 100%. But then it's an art, I mean, set piece taking is an art, and he's probably one of the better ones in the team. So he probably takes it. Matip, I gave him a 9.
Can't argue with that.
I'm really, he's come on leaps and bounds. And I mean, it seems if it's like no more Mr. Nice Guy, it's like for me, he was too nice before, that he was too laid back. But it seems to me now the pennies dropped. He's aggressive, powerful, And as I say, the pennies drop. I think he realises that he is good enough to be a starter for this Liverpool side. Do you know what I mean? He's no wallflower anymore.
And
He's assertive.
And he's actually realised that he has to fight for it. He has to go out there and play for it, not just say, I'm good enough. He has to go out there and take it, and he's doing that.
As well as the head... No, agree, totally. As well as the headers, he's winning time after time. He's nipping in front of the forward player to get the ball off his feet when it's been played to the forward where he's back to goal. He's nipping in front of him. Do you know what I mean? It's like... It's he's being proactive.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying last week when he didn't play so well, saying the problem was he wasn't being able to be proactive because we were dropping off and it didn't suit him. He looked back to the old Matip at times. Obviously, his set plays, he was excellent. But in the open play, he was really struggling because he was having to change his game completely and it didn't suit him. Once he's back on the front foot again, being aggressive and going to them rather than waiting for them to come to him, he's much better. Yeah, definitely a front foot player.
You honestly, I mean, of course, I don't know 100%, but my assumption is that we have to give props to Virgil for some of this, his rise, Matip's rise, because playing with Virgil has improved Matip immeasurably, I think.
Yeah, but I know you'd also have to say that playing with Virgil also makes it a hell of a lot harder for him because everybody goes at him rather than let Virgil.
Exactly.
Nobody takes on Virgil because they just go, oh, God, there's not a lot of point. And they just, so everybody's making it on, is attacking him. And so he's actually, as well as having the advantage of having Virgil alongside him, he's also got a disadvantage having him there because he's having to do twice as much work.
Yeah, I'm hearing what you're saying. That's why I think you've got to salute him because he's working that much harder to get where he's at, you know? He's not taking the easy route.
I think that's helped him, though, like I said, because now he can just go and deal with them because he knows nobody's on Virgil because they're going after him, so Virgil can be on the cover all the time.
Oh, no, my dog's just walked in.
I really wish you wouldn't call it
that. She is gonna murder you. I'm telling you. What was
me? Say, you're the one that keeps saying it.
Oh, mate.
Shall I pause it or what? Am I pausing it?
No. Yeah. Virgil van Dijk, Mr. Burke. I gave him a 9.
I thought you were going to say a 2 then.
Another stellar defensive performance from our human wall. Once again, he did everything right, aerially, positionally, and generally leading by example.
You sound like you're reading off a script. Have you scripted that bit?
I was eating an apple, mate. I was trying to
You scripted that bit, didn't you?
That bit, yeah.
I knew it. You can tell by the way you said it.
Did you like it?
Well, it might have been better if it sounded genuine rather than scripted.
Because I live for your approval.
Yeah. Well, yeah, someone's got to.
Yeah, mate, he was awesome again, right? I mean, how he didn't win Ballon d'Or, I don't know. But
are we going to mention that now while we're on it?
We might as well, mate. Might as well.
Yeah. Go on then. Go on. Have a good bone about it because I know you've been dying to.
I just think that it's... I mean, who was the last defender that won it? Was it Cannavaro? I'm not sure, to be honest.
No, it was the guy who won the World Cup. Well, it was an Italian, though, wasn't it? It wasn't Cannavaro. It was... Was it Cannavaro? No. Oh, it wasn't Italian, no.
It was an Italian guy.
Yeah, and he's below 6 foot, and he's a centre. He was a centre back, wasn't he, for the World Cup? They won the World Cup anyway. Italy won the World Cup with him as captain, didn't they? Oh God!
Yeah, it was Cannavaro, wasn't it?
Was it Cannavaro? I'm beginning to wonder now if you're right. I just assumed it wasn't because you said it.
All right, mate.
And I know what you're like. No, I know what you're like with names. We've had this. David Wagner, remember that? Yeah. So as soon as you start mentioning a name, I think Christ, he must be wrong. It must be somebody else. Yeah, anyway, yeah, so, yeah, he was the last one defender.
Yeah, Fabio Cannavaro won it in
Yeah.
2006. I don't know whether he was the last defender,
13
wasn't
years.
it?
Yeah, he was last non-forward, wasn't he?
Jesus. Wow. Well, I mean, Messi scored 36 goals in La Liga, so I mean, and
Yeah,
they
but
won
La
the league,
Liga
right?
was
So
terrible last season, including Barcelona. Not just not just the whole league was woeful.
he scored 36 goals in La Liga, but he scored other goals as well. So he must have had a 50-goal season or something
Yeah, he
like that.
did.
So
He did. He had something like
and then
56 goals.
and he is the poster boy of UEFA, and so I can see why I mean, I can see why they did it, but on a footballing level, what's better, to keep the goals out, or I mean, by that maybe Becker should have got it. Well, they didn't get it. I mean,
well, he was never even in the voting, and Ronaldo knew he weren't going to win it because he never even bothered to turn up.
he didn't show up, did he? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but
He's a miserable sod anyway.
yeah, but he knew he wasn't going to win it. He didn't even have that good a season. Why was he in the voting? That's what I didn't understand.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is what I'm saying, right? They
Yeah, but
didn't.
I'm saying it was either
Let
going
me
to be
finish.
Messi or Ronaldo. It's always Messi or Ronaldo because they're the poster boys, and that's all that matters. It's who's the face. It's not about. It's just about
Yeah,
branding, isn't it? It's not about who's the best.
Yeah, but him not turning up, show your bosses some respect. You've won it 5 times or whatever, something stupid, right? They've given you probably given you the Ballon d'Or when you didn't deserve it at 1 time or 2 times. Just show some respect and turn up to the event, Just give
It
something
wasn't
back.
Ballon d'Or, actually. It wasn't Ballon d'Or. It was UEFA. It was FIFA Best, wasn't it? I've just realised. It's FIFA, not Ballon d'Or.
Ballon d'Or?
Ballon d'Or is France Football Magazine's. It used to be the same. It went through it for a while. It was the same, but they've split again.
Right.
For a while, it was Ballon d'Or. Then they joined together to give it as one trophy for the best player in the world. And they've split again the last few years back, about 3 or 4 years ago. They split again, so now it's FIFA Best and Ballon d'Or separate trophies.
Oh, so we could win the Ballon d'Or then?
Yeah, I think so. Unless they've scrapped it that I don't know of. But as far as I'm aware, yeah, they're two separate awards now.
Well, that's our devastating research executed again, eh?
I didn't have to research that. Some things I just know. I remember that.
So where's the Ballon d'Or then?
France Football Magazine to award it, so it's not going to go to anyone who plays in England, is it? Let's be honest.
Right, that's a point, yeah.
Plays for an English team? God, can't give it to him.
Well, if they give it to Griezmann, it stinks to high heaven.
Yeah. But did you see about him? Did you see about Barcelona's fine for tapping him up?
€20.
That was €365. Don't exaggerate. It was a huge fee for Barcelona.
I swear to you, right? When you remember when I sent you that link? I mean, I sent you the link for the news article. That it was only a 265 euro
yeah, 265, wasn't it? Yeah. I'd already seen it because I'd written it in the review of the day. I'd written it about it for the review of the day. I'd just finished writing it when you sent the link.
Oh right, okay, yeah. So, I don't read them, so I wouldn't know. But
no, I hadn't posted it up because I do them the day before.
Oh right. Oh yeah. I was going to say, when I saw the 265, I honestly thought it was 265 million, and I thought to myself, how the fuck are Barcelona going to recover from this? Do you know what I mean? And then I clicked into the article. It was €265.
Yeah, not even 265,000. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's just pointless. Even in their ruling, they said this isn't going to make any difference. So what? I read something else. They said the only other choice was something like banning him from games or something, and they weren't going to do that. Well, why not? If that's the only option you've got.
Do you really think UEFA are going to ban Barcelona? They'd have to do something so obviously.
It wasn't UEFA, it was RFEF, wasn't it?
RFEF, that's the one.
Yeah, because remember, you kept saying ref, trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, except you don't do funny. So I just assumed you were being serious and didn't read it properly because this is you.
It didn't work because I had to explain the joke.
Yeah, well, it doesn't work because I assume he's a bit thick, so he probably just hasn't read it right. Unfortunately, when you've set the bar so low, when you do come up with something good or funny, nobody notices because they're expecting you to be a div.
Oh, people notice. Don't you worry. Let's get back to the player ratings.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. Yeah, we talked about Liverpool, weren't we?
Yeah, so I give Virgil a 9. So we're on to Robbo. I gave him a 6. He made 2 excellent blocks, and I think they would have saved certain goals. He wasn't his usual swashbuckling self, though.
No, it was a bit off the pace. Definitely off the pace.
Yeah.
Didn't play badly, but just didn't play to his normal level, Like with Trent, I think the way Sheffield United play makes it very difficult for a fullback to get forward.
Why is that, you think?
Because they attack that space in behind there every time. They've been set up specifically to deal with modern football, and modern football is attacking fullbacks. That's what the system's all about. Chris Wilder has set up a system where they get in and attack those areas, and they overload it, and so that if a fullback's not there, you're in trouble. And then they put the ball in the box for strikers who can get on the end of it.
So the way to circumvent that is go through the middle.
Well, no, because if you defend, you've still got to stop them getting out wide. The problem is you have to keep your fullbacks back, like we had to, and that's why they weren't as good, because they were having to be a bit more defensive-minded.
So you think there was no way we could have nullified them? So
we did nullify them. That's why we had that's what I'm saying. We did it by holding the fullbacks back a bit more than usual, so we weren't as expansive as normal. Expansive,
yeah. And so we just played. We didn't go wide too often. We just went through the middle.
No, it's not about playing when you're attacking. You could still use the width because there's a chance. What I'm saying is when they attack, they're set up to attack on the wide areas. So you have to defend. You know what I mean? You have to not let them in that gap behind the fullbacks. You have to cover that. So you can't. Your fullbacks can't just charge up and down the wing unless somebody drops in there. If you notice, when I think it was Milner that came on, was virtually playing left back. And then Robbo started getting forward for fun then, at the end of the game.
Right, yeah. Because he had. I think
it was Milner, wasn't it? It dropped in there.
Yeah. Milner came on 86 minutes. I think it was 4 minutes to spare or something, yeah.
Yeah, it might not have been. I can't remember. It was somebody had dropped it. Yeah, when he got forward.
Divi came on the left for Henderson.
Yeah, that might. That helped. See, that helped because they couldn't raid forward as much because we had more width in our forward line.
Exactly, yeah.
So they couldn't get forward. So you've got to think, because if you put the forwards in there and they don't put in the effort, say other teams might have problems with, they couldn't go with the forward, a 4 up front to try and push them back because your forwards aren't going to trap back. They can get it. They've got acres of space to attack, and so they can destroy a team that did that. So it was a gamble by Klopp.
Why, when we went to 4-3-2-1, we played much better. Why didn't we start with that?
It sounds like Ted Rogers.
Ted Rogers, yeah. Why didn't we?
Where's Dusty been?
I used to love that program, mate. Loved that program.
I just remember it in primary school, sitting in my PJs to watch it because it used to be on at 8 o'clock or something, didn't it?
Mate, about 3 people will know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Don't worry. Oh no, because there's plenty of old people
for
on there.
for anyone under, I don't know what, 40, you'll have to YouTube that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'll have
what
to
was it called?
YouTube
It was
that.
just called 3-2-1, wasn't it?
Oh no, it wasn't. What was it? What was it called? Dusty Bin. All right, Google it. One of
It was
them.
called 3-2-1, wasn't it? And that's why he kept doing the
No,
3-2-1 thing
Dusty
with his fingers. It had Dusty Bin in it, and Ted Rogers presented it. I can't remember. It was like sketches and things, wasn't it? And you had to guess what it. I can't remember now. Do you know what? I've got no idea what it was about now. Thinking about it, but I remember loving it and spending hours practicing that 3-2-1.
Mate, I think you're right. It was 3-2-1.
Do you remember though? You had to do. You had to turn your hand each time. So you'd have to
and it was pretty.
2.
Did you get it down though? Did you get it down?
Yeah, after like years of practice.
Mate, could you do your Rubik's Cube?
I don't know. I never really tried one.
Okay. All right.
I had one, but it fell apart when I first got, because it was obviously second hand.
Knock off, exactly.
Well, it was a second hand one. I don't know where it come from. Like somebody had borrowed it off someone, because I didn't actually have my own, and it fell apart when I started using it. So you just end up, it doesn't really. But the key to them was the middle one.
Borrowed in inverted commas.
Yeah, probably. Somebody had left it lying around. I'll check that.
Exactly. Yeah, a stranger that we don't know left it lying around. Yeah. All right, mate. We'll go back to the ratings. Fab. I gave him a 6.5. He didn't stamp his authority on the game. I think he was, and he was hurried into losing possession a few times as well. I don't think he played that well, to be fair.
Okay. Can't argue with that. He wasn't at his best, but they don't give you time and space to be, and they don't really overrun you, so you can't really just go and nick the ball off them, because there's 3 or 4 of them around you. So it's a difficult game for us.
I think what we'll find is when they come to Anfield, we'll learn from this game. That the analysts will be out, we're doing their research, homework, whatever.
Yeah,
and we'll learn from this game. We'll deal with them a lot better in the game at Anfield for sure.
I hope so.
Right, let's move on to Genie. I actually thought he was the pick of the midfielders. He was.
You're not going to take
willing,
a point
running.
off him for scoring, or is that just Mane?
That's getting old now.
I know, but old ones are golden.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
So Ed 25 keeps telling me anyway. Ed 3 will be saying it now, considering it's his 60th this week. It's actually his 50th,
16.
but don't tell any 60th. It's actually 50, but don't tell anyone, because I keep saying it's his 60th.
Still not a golden Genie performance by any stretch of imagination, but it wasn't. I don't think he was as bad as the others.
I think he did well.
Yeah. And he scored.
Exactly. Away from home as well.
Exactly. It's like a collector's item. So he deserved. He was due one away from home.
And it was the winner, so important.
There you go. Well, it delivered made in Manchester, the red half. Yeah. So I didn't realise that Dean Henderson was on loan from Manchester United.
Yeah. They borrowed him last season as well. Good keeper normally.
Yeah.
Bit unlucky in this game, but he's normally a very, very good keeper.
Yeah, do you think United will give him up?
They don't really want him, but similar to us with Kelleher, you might end up in a position where what can you do?
Yeah, but De
Gea's not got that many, and De Gea's not got that many years left in him, has he? There at United, you can't see him staying 5-6 more years, can you?
Mate, he was in the right place at the right time to sign that contract, because he is not worth the money that they've given him. I'm sorry. I know he might be. He's had some golden years and he's going through a bit of a lean time at the moment, but
Oh, De
and
Gea.
hopefully
Sorry,
he
I
can.
thought you
Yeah,
I thought we
yeah.
were on a Liverpool podcast, so I got
No,
a bit
no, no,
confused then.
no, no, no,
I forgot which
I'm talking
podcast I'm
about.
doing.
Yeah, I'm talking about De Gea. I know he's been excellent. He's probably been the premier keeper in the world for a while, but he's going for a lean patch, and hopefully he gets it back. But I don't think he's worth the money that they've thrown at him. They could have got. I'm not sure he's worth that money. 350 a week or something.
They don't seem to be very good on their negotiations on contracts at the moment, do they?
I mean, who's running the show? Like a bunch of 8-year-olds or something? Like, it's just silly. It's.
The problem
You'd think they'd learn from Sanchez.
Yeah, but the problem is they gave Zlatan a huge contract to get him there, and then ever since then, everybody else is judging their contracts by what Zlatan got, and you're in a problem. Then once you give one player a big contract, you're stuffed until you can. You've got to hold it at that level now. Until you get, until everybody else catches up. That's the only way you can do it. You're never going to get anybody to accept less, except people that are desperate to join, like say Daniel James, who's like nobody else in the top flight was going to have a top 6 even. I mean, was gonna go for him. So this is a big chance for him. So he'll take a lower wage, but most of the rest they're going to say, well, why should I join you? There's always another option.
It isn't the attraction it used to be.
Exactly, and they're not looking like they're about to come good, are they? So
by the way, what's the score? What's the latest score between Arsenal and United?
I think it finished 1-1. I don't know. I'm not actually
looking
at TV.
Okay.
Am I? I'm facing the other way, so it's a bit difficult. I don't know. It's finished anyway.
Oh, that's right, because you've got your TV. You're not. Yeah, no, I remember from your watching the Palace game. What was I going to say to you? Yeah. So, all right. But have their players got parity contracts? Like, for example, Zlatan got crazy amount of money. Would there have been parity contracts with other players?
The only player who had a parity contract wasn't it Wayne Rooney who had one? And he's gone. I think it was Wayne Rooney was the last one I can remember that had one.
What was Zlatan on by curiosity?
A lot more than 350,000.
You are joking me.
No.
Why would they do that? I don't understand.
I don't know. What I don't understand is why people say it was a successful move as well. I didn't see what he did that was any good. I've got to say, I just do not get Zlatan. I do not get why people rave about him. I can see he's got fantastic technique, but I just don't think he's all that. And I know he's won trophies galore, but I'm not sure how much of that is down to him and how much of that is down to being in the right team, if you see what I mean.
Are you talking about Zlatan in his later years, or are you
in
talking
his entire career? I'm just not a fan. I just didn't get him. Never have done. Never seen why he was that good. I mean, when you consider like Barcelona giving up Samuel Eto'o for him, and 40 million, and Samuel Eto'o was worth to me. Samuel Eto'o was worth 40 million and Zlatan, rather than Zlatan was worth 40 million and Eto'o. I think Eto'o was twice the player.
Yeah, but there's something else going on there. That isn't just football. There's something else going on there. But yeah, I mean, he scored what he scored? 27 goals for United, something like that.
I don't know. You know me and stats. I don't take any notice of them because there are things like that. There's a lot more. Yeah,
maybe
he didn't do anything he didn't do any running. He didn't do any work, and so it's all very well scoring 27 goals. But if you're not actually contributing outside of the penalty box at all, you could be costing 50 goals a season for your team.
So why did they trigger another year in his contract? Then they took him for 2 years, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of the... it's something I don't get. One of those bizarre things. The manager wanted him and he got him.
I think he probably wanted him as well, because if you have Zlatan Ibrahimovic on your side in the team, nobody's going to mess with you in that team.
Well,
he actually scored 26 goals for Man United. I was one shy.
not bad.
One over. Yeah. All right, let's get back to the player ratings and our captain, fantastic, Mr. Henderson. I gave him a 6.
Did
he
you?
worked hard, but it was...
I thought he was terrible,
on,
to be honest.
Yeah,
I thought he had a really poor game. I wouldn't have given him a 6. I'd have said 5.
Yeah.
Apart from he did, like I said, he did organise changes to the to the way they coped with the wing backs and that, especially on Trent's side. But his actual play off the ball, he was fine, but on the ball, he was abysmal. He kept just kicking it against players and stuff, and I was just thinking, for God's sake, learn a lesson. You did it once, fine.
Yeah.
But the second time you do it, that's starting to be, that's stupidity now. The third time, you got to learn. You can't keep doing it. He did not have a good game on the ball at all.
I think you'll find, that there was no guile or offensive thrust or nothing from him. There was no feed in the front three, no service. I think you find, Ox may come in for him against Leicester.
Possibly.
I think there might be a change,
And I love Endo, so it's not like I'm saying that because
of course,
I don't like him,
no.
some of these others that just jump on his back.
No,
I just think he just had a stinker.
You don't have to justify yourself. You know what I mean? It's like it is what it is. It's just objective ratings. And he had a crappy game. But he's been a superstar for us in the past as well. So it'll just it's peaks and troughs. He'll have 2 weeks time. He'll be a world beater again. He'll do what he does. So.
Yeah, once he's back at his game.
Yeah. Yeah, and on song Hendo is a sight to behold.
When he's charging forwards, I mean that wasn't a game for him because he wasn't able to really get charging forward. He was mostly pushing back, defending.
Yeah, exactly. All right, mate. Salah, he was crap.
He had a poor game
subdued.
As well,
should have scored. He was too lackadaisical. And listen, Salah's just been. Salah's Salah, mate. You know what I mean? He's had an off day. He had an off day against Chelsea. He'll come again. It's too good not for it not to happen.
Yeah, to me, he looked like a player who hasn't had who needs a break because it's just not coming for him. I'm hoping this international break he'll actually get a break. Especially as he's
playing Senegal, aren't they?
No, Senegal are playing Brazil.
I thought Egypt were playing Senegal. No, Brazil are going on a little bit of a tour.
It's Singapore. No, they're going to Singapore, Brazil are, and they're playing two African sides, Senegal and somebody else. I don't know who Egypt are playing off the top of my head.
Gotcha. All right.
But I know Brazil are playing Senegal and another African side because it's the first time they've faced Senegal. First time the two countries have played each other, and Mane's been picked. Been called up today because I've done it on the doing the review of the week thing, a review of the day.
Okay, mate. Yeah.
Just done it a minute ago, just before we started.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm hoping he gets because that fallout with the voting for the
Egyptian FA. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because they put the signatures in capital letters and stuff. I mean, what the hell is going on there? It does sound like a petty attempt to not vote, to vote for him to not vote for him while saying, yeah, but we did vote for you, honest, doesn't it? It does all seem a bit petty. And him taking Egypt off his social media profiles. I mean, for God's sake.
It's like a soap opera within a soap opera, that Egypt and Salah kind of situation. There's always something going on between them. It's like... And I think his agent's in the middle of it as well.
Well, his agent's mostly stirring it up and making it worse.
But yeah, I don't think. Hopefully, he'll get a rest. But I don't think he's one of those players. He's like Suarez. When Klopp says to him, "I think it's time for a rest," he says, "No bloody way."
Yeah, he wants to play all the time, constantly.
And you can't fault that. It's like. I mean, I love Danny, but Danny wasn't the most committed guy to playing a football match. You know what I mean? It's like I'd rather have Salah's attitude. Danny's attitude.
I think Danny Sturridge just knew his body and knew he couldn't. He just wasn't up to it. Simple as that. Is physically he struggles. He does pick up, he did pick up a lot of injuries, and I know people say it's just in his mind and stuff like that, but how the bloody hell do we know what's in his mind or not? I'm not being funny. The lad's had a lot of problems with injuries, and I just think he knew that, like, it wasn't feeling right, it would go. Sometimes it's better to just say, look, I'm not feeling 100%, I think I shouldn't play. And not miss it, and then not get injured for 3 weeks, like, without a slight hamstring pull or whatever. Some players are lucky; they don't have to worry about things like that. Because you imagine if Michael Owen had thought of taking, saying I won't play because I've got a bit of a problem, he might have had a 5-year longer career.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about at his better, because he suffered so many hamstring pulls where he shouldn't have been playing.
Right, yeah. And he... actually, that reminds me. I want to order the Michael Owen. I think that'd be a good read.
I just can't imagine it'd be a good read if he's got anything to do with it, to be honest. Apart from the fact that it'll be full of crap. Because he's not exactly... He couldn't lie straight in bed, but yeah... And he won't have mentioned all the stuff, he wouldn't have mentioned anything that's bad about him, will he?
No, but the proof will be in the pudding, in the book. I'll read the book and let you know.
Yeah. I'll look
mate.
forward to your review then, with bated breath.
Yeah.
Look, do you know, he does remind me a lot of you. You both have the same kind of anecdote style. That same excitement when you tell an anecdote. I just get that rush of excitement when you tell them. Same as him when he speaks,
All those BT Sport listeners are like glued to the screen when he's telling anecdotes, much like you. Let's get to Mr. Sadio Mane. Should have scored twice, not his usual 12.
Yeah, very weird that was.
I mean, I could have scored both of them. I mean, that's saying something.
Wouldn't go that far.
You
wouldn't have been able to run that far for the start for the one.
Mate, if I was in that, if I had been in that position, which would have been pretty hard. It would have been impossible for me to be in that position. Yeah, you're right. But if I had got into myself, I could have finished that.
I'm still not convinced.
Through the middle.
I'm still not convinced.
Right, okay.
I've seen you. You couldn't kick a ball straight if your life depended on it.
Mate, the only way I wouldn't have put that away is if you were in, because you'd have covered the whole goal and you'd saved it.
That's just because I'm not skillful. I'm like, I'm the flying pig.
I did it. Yeah, pig be right, yeah.
You don't remember that keeper with Tommy Lawrence? Flying pig. I thought it'd be your era.
Flying pig. That was way after my era.
Yeah, true. Sorry, I should have gone someone a bit earlier, shouldn't I?
Hey, listen, but since they've had that
you'd have been Folks, wouldn't you? Bertie Folks, the 20-stone fella. That'd be your era in the 1920s.
Bert Troutman, or whatever his name was.
Yeah, the German.
Listen, do you know what? I'm not being funny. Since they've had that spat, Salah and Mane, they've started passing to each other. Yeah. And they can't score.
Yeah, they're passing rather than shooting now. And it's starting to get a bit annoying.
It's getting annoying. Just frigging be jealous. I mean, just be frigging selfish.
Just put it in the back of the net and worry about it later.
Exactly. Worry about it later. It's going from the into the frying pan into the fire kind of thing. It's like ridiculous. I mean, I thought I didn't think it would adversely affect that, but it has.
Yeah, it's
just
they're trying too hard to be sharing.
Yeah, they're not playing a natural game now.
It's I often wonder at the free kicks, when they're about to take the free kicks. I often wonder if what they're actually saying behind their hands isn't picking a number, but they're saying, well, which one of you is going to tell Mane we're not passing to him?
Yeah.
One of you's got to tell him.
Yeah, I'm not telling him.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, mate. Bobby. It's
Well, he
unusual
created
that
he created the space for them two to run into, and they had quite a
I
few chances
understand.
to run into it, and it was all due to Firmino pulling the defender away.
No, I
So
gave
he did
Firmino.
well off the ball.
I give Bobby a 6, but the thing is, it's unusual for all three of them to have an off day, And Bobby, when we changed formation, Bobby played better, and this is the first time I've actually seen them all three of them have an off day. Because usually two of them have an off day. The other one, saves their lives. You know what I mean? But
But
all three of
what I
them are
mean
off.
is, the problem was Bobby when he did do something well, the others were messing it up for him. So it ended up looking like, and unless you watched what he was doing, you wouldn't have seen that he was doing well to create the space for them to run into.
You're right. Yeah. They're all a bit subdued for my liking, to be honest with you. But
Yeah,
we
can
won,
agree
and
with
that's the main thing. I don't think it. Hopefully, it doesn't happen again. All right, next, Divi. I think he was. I think he was superb when he came on. He was a bright spark. He made things happen. He brightened up the forward line with his energy and his thrust. I think we're lucky to have a player of his quality that's happy to sit on the bench. I really do. And then come on when needed.
Yeah, I thought he did well. I was quite impressed with him.
I'm very proud of the fact that he's got a new haircut as well. I like it.
Is that what you went for when you were at the barber's, like?
Yeah. I'll have a divvy, please, mate.
I don't. Then I just said, no, you're all right. You don't need any haircut for that. You're already a divvy.
And we didn't even script that. That was off the cuff. Well done, Mr.
I know.
Burt. I'm impressed.
Do we use, apart from you, do we actually do any scripting? I mean, you did that one slight bit, but that's it, isn't it? Oh, no, you normally script the beginning, don't you? You normally script the beginning.
Yeah. This is really off the cuff, most of this. We should...
That's why it's so bad.
Yeah. I know. Maybe
we should start scripting it.
Maybe we'll get 2 listeners instead of 1.
I always think that about the Ask the Ed. Maybe I should script it next time because it might be a bit better then. But I never do.
What do you mean a bit better? Yeah, exactly.
Well, if I'm scripting it, it's not going to be any good, is it?
All right, mate. And Milner and Ox, I think they didn't have much time to make an impression, did they? 4 minutes?
Yeah, he can't really give them any. Not their fault, but they just didn't have time.
No. Yeah, but you know what? For the first time in ages, for a long, long time, we've got a decent bench that's comparable to City's,
Yeah, it's been looking really good, hasn't it?
I mean, apart from who, I think it's a great bench.
Would that be who?
Listen, it's a name we don't mention, but well,
no, I'm not sure. You're going to have to tell me. I don't know who you mean.
No. Well, Kate, hopefully,
I know he's your
favourite,
so it can't be Lallana because you love him.
Yeah, so hopefully Keita's coming back now. So hopefully that should work that one out. Anyway, let's get down to the Salzburg preview. Sorry, we're playing them on Wednesday. In the UEFA Champions League, I believe.
Yeah, it's definitely in the Champions League.
Right. Is it Wednesday or Tuesday? It's Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is Wednesday. Oh,
yeah,
God.
Wednesday. Yeah.
I thought I wrote that.
And not having a haircut.
I've written everything about it, but not
that. Let's just go with Wednesday, and if it's on Tuesday, some people might miss the game, and
it's your fault if anybody misses it.
Yeah, I just want to say now, if anybody's listening and they're not sure what day the game is, just check it on the internet.
By the time they got this far into the thing, By the time they got this far into the podcast, it's probably been finished anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, exactly. All right, mate. We're Mane's old team, and that's all I know actually. And
and they're owned by Red Bull. They're not owned by Red Bull, of course, and are nothing to do with Red Bull, despite having Red Bull in their name now. Because otherwise, they wouldn't be allowed to play in the Champions League as well as RB Leipzig, would they? So,
how have they got round that? I don't know.
Because they've just set up a different holding company and pretended it's a totally different owner, isn't they?
That's just incredible. Absolutely incredible that I mean, the whole world knows that. I mean, apart from the German FA, supposedly.
Well, and UEFA, because that's why UEFA allowing them to play, and it's just nonsense. It really is. They shouldn't be allowed both teams in. I don't care if they've changed companies' names and all that. There's no way they're separate entities. A bit like Udinese and Watford. You can't have them both in the same European competition if either qualified. You know, if they both qualified, like, you just couldn't. Or Olympiacos and Nottingham Forest, another one.
What have they got to do with each other?
Same owner. You know, the guy who didn't know anything about the heroin on his ships and that. And didn't in any way match fix at all in the Greek league or anything like that.
What, the Arabic fella?
No, he's Greek. He's a Greek shipping magnate who's had charges for the heroin smuggling and stuff like that. Though of course he didn't know anything about it being on his ships. Nothing at all, obviously. Yeah, of course. I 100% definitely believe him.
So do I. Let's
sorry, bit of a cough there. Frog in me throat.
I'm telling you, it's too much fellatio, mate. I keep telling you.
Well, if I ever get any, I'll let you know then.
Gunnar Haller's son, mate, up front for him. He scored about 89 goals already this season, hasn't he?
That was just in the last game, wasn't it?
Jesus Christ, he's sharp, that fella.
Oh, he's a good player.
We talked about him.
I think we mentioned him, didn't we, last time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, mate. We did, yeah. It'd be really good to see him, actually.
So I won't mention the stuff about the league, because I'm pretty sure, didn't we? Did we actually talk about it on the pod?
We did, mate. We did, mate. Then. I think it was on pod, yeah, we did, mate. We did, mate. Yeah,
so I can't sound knowledgeable by saying about the Leeds fans going on about him for like 3 years now, because he's...
we did. We did mention him, yeah, mate. We did, yeah. All right, mate. Well, hopefully get a win and kickstart our campaign in our group and then take it from there. So we'll watch your space and we'll be chatting about it next week.
At least we're at home. That's a good thing. 2 home games in a row would be nice. Yeah, well, we have. We've got that. That's a great... Did you do that on purpose? Because we're about to do the Leicester review now. Yeah, I gathered. I just wanted to move it along. I was just trying to, professional segue there.
Smooth, mate, smooth.
I've been learning off the best, and no, that isn't you.
All right, it's the return of the Rodgers at Anfield.
Oh, yeah, Brendan. If Leicester aren't Brendan by the time they get here, they'll be Rodgers by the time he leaves.
Boom, boom, mate. I'll set him up, you knock him down. Mate, he's going to be so fired up for this game. He'll be shining his veneers Friday night. Extra special and topping sparkle.
Up that tan.
Yeah. He'll have that extra special sparkle for them veneers on Saturday match day.
Oh, God. He even got a grey tracksuit just so it can set off the orange better. Have you noticed?
Yeah. I saw that. One.
Yeah, why weren't they wearing a blue trackie? You know what I mean? Leicester wear blue.
Mate, it's the Rodgers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Second guess the man.
It doesn't work with the orange. That's why he's not in blue.
I've never seen him in tracksuit. He's always in a suit, isn't he?
No, he was in a he was in a tracksuit jacket, wasn't he? But I'm sure it was tracksuit trousers as well.
No, against Newcastle. But
Yeah.
I've never seen him in.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
I was a bit surprised. That's what I'm saying. I think it must have been because it was grey. He thought, oh, look how good that looks with orange. Grey and orange, beautiful.
Yeah. He's trying to emulate Kloppo, isn't he?
His
So
new
when he gets to
missus, his
Anfield,
new missus will have set him up with that. She'll have said, that looks good on you, because you know she's very keen on his image.
yeah, yeah, true, yeah.
Get him on the weight loss classes and that, you know.
Yeah, well, he was doing boxing training, wasn't he, last summer? He was like slimmed down and everything. Yeah, he looks decent, mate. All right,
Do you sure you mean boxing training and not packing his boxes to move down from Celtic?
True, yeah. That was a good move. I think that was a good move for him coming down to Leicester.
It was a good move for him getting the job at Celtic because he's beaten nobody in no competition whatsoever. But he still somehow made himself, made his reputation. It's bizarre.
I mean, listen, he still had to win. Well, anyway, I suppose
What did he have to win? Who did he have to beat? I mean, Rangers were still in the lower league when he joined. And not long after they got promoted, he buggered off. So it's hardly exactly pushed himself to the limit there, has he? And somehow he's managed to get a really good job at Leicester, because that is a good job. I know it's been difficult, but this is the right time to be going in there, because they've almost completely wiped out all the ones that were causing the problems. And they've got a new young team in there, and they're a good team.
And they've got a great set of owners. I mean, they really back their people, you know?
Yeah, they put money into
back their manager. Oh, yeah. I mean, they're the third in the league.
I don't know if I'd say they were great if you ask. You might have a different answer if you ask the family of the woman who died in the helicopter crash. The model woman, the one that used to be a model that was in the crash. You not heard about them?
Right.
They've declined to pay her family compensation.
I'm sad to hear that.
It's a bit more to it than that. They wanted to see it in amount, and they've offered a small amount, and they wanted a bigger amount and stuff like that. But still, the way it came across is a bit like declining to offer. Yeah, it's kind of to pay compensation sounds a bit off. I'm not sure if that's just bad wording because it's translated into English or what, but that does not sound good.
Yeah, well, on the football side of things, mate, they've got some cracking players. Danger men like Chilwell. You know what? That Ndidi is a player, isn't he?
Oh, I like Ndidi. Well, I said that I would have liked him, before we bought Fabinho, I would have liked him for our midfield.
How do you rate Ndidi compared to Fabinho?
Totally different players. Not the same players at all. Ndidi's closer to Kante and players like that, that play in front.
Right.
He's not really... I know people will go on and call him a holding midfielder, but he's not. He doesn't hold. He goes all over the place. He just plays in centre. He's a box-to-box midfielder. He plays a central midfield role. And Fabinho's more of a defensive midfielder, holding midfielder. He sits and he holds.
Very disciplined. Yeah, but Ndidi was playing the same role against Newcastle. He was holding, he was sitting, and he wasn't going forward against Newcastle. But I suppose he mixes it up.
Yeah, he's got the freedom to do what wants. He does what's best for the team.
Now,
that Newcastle team were abysmal, to be fair. I'm not being funny, but people raving about how great Leicester were. I'm sorry, I'm not sure they were that great. They should have had 7 or 8 if they were that great, because Newcastle, not just down to 10 men, but were truly an awful game. They were terrible.
Mate, we're going to talk about Newcastle in a sec. I just want to talk about,
okay.
Further down.
Because we finished with Liverpool now, have we?
We're doing a Liverpool Leicester review. Remember, preview.
I know, but I'll just say what we talked. I must have missed.
Don't worry about it, mate.
I've forgotten. I've got lost. I've forgotten what we'd set. What we'd set
Don't
out
worry,
to do.
Mate. Yeah. So they have got some like champagne players. You're right. They've got some very, very good players.
Madison.
I mean, yeah, I know you love him. I know you like him a lot.
I like Pratt as well. Pratt, whatever
Pray,
it's called.
yeah, we were linked with him once upon a time, weren't we? Under Rodgers, I'm pretty sure we were.
Yeah, he was, but he hadn't really made the step up everyone expected, and that's why he's there on loan.
Yeah,
that's why he's there. He's not on loan, is he? It's not him that's on loan.
No, they bought him. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's Tielemans they got on loan, and then they bought him.
They bought him. Yeah.
See, I'm not convinced by. I think he's a weak. He's a weak link. Yeah. Watch him. He gives away the ball a lot. Silly errors. He's very careless. Right. Very careless on the ball, and he can be a bit half-arsed when it comes to defending as well. He's fine going forwards. He'll sprint, but when it comes to defending, 9 times out of 10, and he's walking. You know what I mean?
Doesn't like doing the dirty stuff. Yeah,
he's a half-assed player. He'll do what he wants. You know what I mean? And that's probably why he's ended up at Leicester rather than a big club, though. So
I think they'll give us. I think they'll give us more than a game because they'll have Maddison back as well, and we need to be on it from one for us to give them a hiding. I think they'll give us a good game, and especially Rodgers will be giving it to them like. Will be up their arses.
I just hope they pick Damari Gray and players like that because they have got some dross in that squad. Iheanacho, God, he's awful. Damari Gray, but useless.
They'll take time to fish them people kind of players out, but their first 11 is pretty good.
Oh yeah, I'm not just saying. There's a few players there that they still need to upgrade on. They've got a lot they could do.
Yeah, they're not the finished article yet, but by any stretch of the imagination. But they're third in the league, and
but it's not even 10 games in. I don't know why people say this third in the league. It shouldn't even be looking at the table for at least 10 games.
Okay, fair enough. But I think that I think they're there. I think they're there on merit. They've got quality. And I think they're well within their rights to be pushing for that top floor play. Didn't they get beat
by Man United? Was that them?
They got beat Man United. No, I think they did actually. Yeah. But I think they'll be in that.
So you have to wonder if they are actually that good.
But you could have freak results at the beginning of the season, you know.
It's
but
freak result,
their longevity.
I'm not convinced, but I'm really truly not. I mean, they've got some great players there. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not convinced they're that good yet. There's still far too many. Sionchu, great player on the ball and all that.
Love him.
Defends really well, but he makes far too many errors. Actually, Johnny Evans, I think, is a really good defender, good on the ball as well, but he's just injury prone, so. That's his problem. But their right back is so weak in the defence. He's great going forward, but if you get at him, he's terrible defensively, Ricardo Pereira.
And again, we were linked with him as well, I remember.
Yeah, he's a right midfielder who's crap in right midfield, so he plays at right back. One of them, you know. Right. But he's not a good defender at all. If he's great when you've got, when they're on the front foot, like they were against Newcastle, but put him on the back foot and he's hopeless. He really is a poor defender.
So that's an inroad for us, maybe.
Yeah, and Chilwell as well can be caught out because he tries to play too much. He's very good on the ball and that, but he's still learning, and he can be caught out as well. Okay,
so maybe we could get some luck down the flanks.
I do think they're beatable. You can get in, and Sunchu makes mistakes. Tielemans is very careless on the ball. So yeah. I mean, they'll give us a game, but I think they're beatable. I don't think they're as good as people are making out because they beat Newcastle. 10-man Newcastle. Gotcha. And they were, a 10-man woeful Newcastle. That's not a great performance. That was an okay performance in my eyes. I think people were going a bit over the top.
I don't think they're they're going to be the hardest team we're going to face, but they a potential banana skin if we're not on it from
Yeah, because they can score goals. That's the thing.
Exactly. Yeah. We need to be careful. We need to be very disciplined and have our wits about us.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they can turn us over easy. But I'm saying they're very beatable as well. There's a lot of weaknesses in that team that can be exploited.
I'm really looking forward to that game, mate. I really am. It'll be a good game. All right, mate. Let's get on to some miscellaneous kind of stuff. Klopp mooting Gerrard as his successor.
I know
What do you
you're
feel
happy
about
about that, aren't you?
I
know you
just
think that's a
it'll
great
be.
idea.
I want it to be Linders. I think he deserves it. I really do. If it isn't anybody like Nagelsmann or maybe Alonso, Xabi Alonso, because he's doing pretty well at Sociedad B team at the moment. But honestly, I think if anybody, I don't know what his personality like is. Maybe he's not a number. He doesn't feel he's a number one. But I would give it to Linders because it'd be a seamless transition, in my opinion.
I just think it's too soon to be talking about it personally. 3
Yeah,
years
well,
time,
I
3 years
get that.
time, it all could
Yeah.
change. You know what I mean?
There's
Linders could be managing somewhere else altogether anyway and not be interested. Gerrard could have had a disastrous 3 years and nobody's even thinking about him.
True.
Too long to tell.
There was a story about Klopp, us losing Klopp to the German national side. Now, is that when his contract ends, or is that before?
Every single time, because he once said he might be interested in it, and so every time it came up at Dortmund as well. It used to come up every time there was there was an international break. It'd come up, if the manager was looking a bit, his place was looking a bit under threat. Immediately they'd start talking about whether Klopp could go and do it. It's just the way it is. As soon as he, if he has a bad run of games, then they'll definitely start hyping it up. But I can't see it happening.
Right. Good. I would more than be happy. I mean, in my mind, in my heart, in my head, I know Klopp is gone after this contract. I just feel it in my heart and my mind. But he gives us 3 years. I'll be so happy, and he'll leave with my blessing, and then. I think the German gig will be a brilliant vocation for him.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes after that, like we said before, it's just thank you very much for your service and the best of luck.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. All right. Peter Moore, our CEO, saying, Liverpool back on the effing perch. He's got a lot of chastisement for it. For this comment. I mean, I think he's got... Yeah, but he's coming from a good place as a proud Liverpudlian.
No,
the Liverpool
not. He's
supporter...
talking crap. We haven't won the league. We're not anywhere near the perch until we've won the league.
I understand, but
that was our perch. It's not the Champions League. Our perch was the league. That was our bread and butter, and that was what it was all about.
I get it, but what I'm saying is, I think his miscomments come from a good place. It's not out of spite. It's not out of goading anybody. It's just something that he misspoke,
but he shouldn't have said it.
He shouldn't have said
saying it like we've already reached as high as we're going. No, we're not back on the perch. We've still got more to do.
I get it, but as I said, I don't think it was a marketing ploy or anything like that. I just think it was he just misspoken. And I know, maybe he had a rush of blood and he talked out of context, or whatever. But I think it's forgivable, mate. I think it is.
Just seems a bit arrogant to me.
Possibly, but again, I'm willing to forgive him. All right, let's talk about FSG failing in their trademark ruling of Liverpool.
It's kind of obvious that was going to happen, weren't it? I mean, Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur managed it, which I'm surprised that Chelsea managed it, considering it's an area of London. It seems a bit odd.
So why did Liverpool fail then?
Because they couldn't... Well, how can you trademark a city name? It's not yours. Right. Tottenham Hotspur Club, because it's Tottenham Hotspurs, it's their name. You know what I mean? It just means them. It doesn't mean an area, you know what I mean? Whereas Liverpool, Liverpool is the city first. The football club
Chelsea,
belongs
how does
to
Chelsea
city.
get it? Because that's it.
Yeah, and I did find that odd that they'd managed it. But I assume it's because most people probably, it's just a small area, isn't it? That, like, what other branding is there for Chelsea? You know what I mean? You don't. The only other thing you think of with Chelsea is Chelsea tractors, isn't it?
The flower show, and yeah, I get it. Yeah. So
yeah,
do you think?
I wonder if the Chelsea flower show have to pay up to Chelsea to use the word Chelsea, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a point. Yeah. I didn't think of that, yeah. And the Chelsea pensioners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just seem, when you mention it, like, it does seem a bit odd that they've been able to do it when you think there's quite a few things now we start thinking about it.
Exactly, yeah. That isn't a brown paper bag thing going on, is it?
It's not likely to, because how can Abramovich give a brown paper bag over when he can't even get in the country? They won't even let him in, will they? They've pretty much targeted him to stay out.
Yeah, what's going on there? Is he?
They're just refusing to let him in the country. I don't know why it's him that they're targeting. I really don't understand it. Of all of the Russian oligarchs, he's probably the one that's done the most for England. He's
put so much money into the economy of England. It's absurd,
and he's done so much to take England back to the top of the tree in football as well.
Exactly, and he's invested
all the money he's put into, because Chelsea, he knew when he took over, Chelsea had a problem with the racism and that, and he's put more into it. He's put more into the fight against racism, more money into it than. I think if I remember correctly, he had two. We were talking about the other day. Was saying that he's put more into it than, I think, if I remember his quote correctly. So apologies if I'm wrong. Than UEFA and the FA combined.
I think he's been a fabulous owner for Chelsea Football Club. I think he's been a fabulous positive influence on the English economy and football in general.
I mean, the way he got his money might be a bit shady, but what he's done with it in England, you can't really complain that, can you? I don't know how he obtained his money. Is why I'm saying this shady thing. I don't know how he obtained.
That's none of our business. That's nothing to do with us. But what I'm saying is, what he's invested into this country is absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, this country. It's the way you say it, like when you're in the States.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
He hasn't really helped the States much.
Yeah. He's been such a... Well, he has. He's bought Pulisic.
Oh, yeah, true, yeah. But yeah, he's done so much for, England in general. He's putting a great deal out.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just seem a bit odd. I don't know why they've targeted him, but they have deliberately. He has been targeted.
Yeah. Now, so the FSG have failed in this, and they can't revisit it. They can't. So this is the end of it, right?
Well, I'm sure they could go back and in time, but it's not going to work, is it? If it's been rejected the first time, something like that, it's not something you can do. It's obvious there's a reason for it. So trademarks is a bit different from a normal. Okay, it's you either can or you can't usually, from what I've been told anyway.
All right, mate. It's the end of it then. Good for Liverpool and good for fans. Yeah. The Nike kit deal, 30 million a year and 2% of revenue.
Yeah, we had a similar deal with Reebok.
I didn't know that. I remember when you told me that. I was quite surprised with that. I didn't know that.
I was a bit surprised when they mentioned it on the site. People are like, "Oh, is this unusual?" And that, and I'm thinking, I thought that was common knowledge that we did the same with Reebok. So I was a bit surprised people didn't know about it.
Now,
obviously, since then, we've had Adidas and then Warrior, now New Balance. So it's So it's quite a long time ago. But yeah,
do you think it's a good deal?
It didn't work that well with Reebok, but we were in the doldrums at the time, and a lot of their kits were a bit crap as well, to be fair.
So they Nike are going to guarantee. I think it's Serena Williams and Drake. You wouldn't know who Drake is.
Well, they'll get LeBron James to do it, no problem. Because
and LeBron James,
obviously they'll have no problem. What I'd be interested in, I hope, is they'll do like Michael Jordan, the Jordan brand, because their kits they did for PSG were beautiful. I tell you, I was so tempted to get them. They were lovely kits. So it's just a PSG thing. Once you see that, you go, I don't like it. You know? But the kits itself are beautiful, mate.
Better than the Man City away kit at the moment.
Oh wow, I'm not sure about that. All the Chelsea kits, where they look like somebody's put them together for a laugh, don't they? Have you seen them?
I like the Chelsea.
Oh,
with the? I like that. It's called style, mate. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, you've got none, so you would. Yeah, we know.
Yeah. So you think potentially it's a great deal, right? More than the 70 or 80 million a year.
Well, it should be. It should be better for in that respect. You get better exposure. You're in markets that New Balance haven't reached yet, which is why they wanted to work with us in the first place, because New Balance wanted us to get them into markets like here. They didn't have an in Dubai and places like that, really.
Yeah.
They're unheard of, There was no, like there's Adidas stores and there's things. Under Armour have only just branched out as well, and New Balance were the same. They were coming out at the same sort of time on the back of New Balance had Liverpool, and Under Armour were using Steph Curry. I don't know if you know who I'm assuming you know who he is.
He's a
basketball player. He was the big star at one point, wasn't he, for a while? Yeah. So you heard Nike. What happened with Nike, don't you? Why they didn't sign him? He had a deal with Nike. They'd offered him a deal. He was ready to sign it. And then they looked at it and noticed it was somebody else's deal. They hadn't even bothered to put his name on it.
Yeah.
And so he said, if that's what you think of me, and just walked out when it signed with Under Armour for a lot less, and then became the biggest star, the biggest selling shoe and shirts and stuff like that. But he was the biggest selling merchandise for that year, so they gutted Nike.
They messed up there, and he's a very nice guy as well. Very nice guy.
I don't know, I've never met him.
You think that
the only thing I know about him is my friend's son looks exactly. If you see pictures of Steph Curry as a kid, he looks to spit. And my friend, the pictures of him as a kid, and you put him alongside my friend's son Riley, you would literally say that's the same kid. That is Steph Curry. You know what I mean?
Wow,
it really does look like him.
Doppelganger,
doppelganger.
Doppelganger. That's it. They think they reckon that Nike has pretty much double the amount of exposure that Warrior can get, or was it Under Armour that can give us?
Balance.
So it's New Balance. So it should be a successful synergy. Let's hope so.
If they do nice kits, that's the thing. If they do crap kits like they do, these generic kits that they give to everyone else. That's why I'm saying they need to do what they've done with PSG, and they've produced them through the Jordan brand, and they've been bespoke, so people recognise them, because that's what the difference with New Balance is. The kits are bespoke, whereas you look at the Adidas ones, everybody's got the same kit.
And it'll be a fashion thing as well as a sports thing as well. It'll be a crossover.
Yeah, if they don't do that, then you end up with just a generic kit. Nobody recognises it, and you may as well not have bothered. So that's where the problem lies. That's what went wrong with Reebok, is because they were just producing generic kits. You got a different colour scheme.
The only problem is what will happen, because they won't do them in your size. So
Nike do my size. Almost everything I've got. You must have realised that by now.
Yeah, you're all right then. All right, mate. Suarez back to Liverpool. What's that about?
I don't know. I just heard he said that in an interview about going back, wanted to go back or something. I don't really know. To be honest, I haven't read it because I've got no interest in reading what he's got to say. Just don't like him.
Fair enough, mate.
Can't stand him. If he goes back, I'd be disgusted if the club ever took him back. The way he treated us.
I don't think he'd do a job anyway, mate. I mean, compared to what we've got now, I don't think it would be.
Where's he going to play?
Exactly.
He struggled to get in. He just struggled to get in that team we played against MK Dons the way he's playing these days.
Exactly, mate.
He's still struggling with his weight as well.
He's messy, mate. That's why he's in that team.
Yeah, he'd have been gone if Neymar was back, though, wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. All right, mate. I want to talk about John Barnes. He's in the news recently, quite a bit regarding racism, and he's always been good for a quote on the subject. Barnes advocated for Liam Neeson, saying he deserved a medal for being honest about his prejudice. Yeah, honest about his prejudice towards black people. When a friend of Liam Neeson's got raped by a black man.
Yeah, I remember the story.
Yeah, he's also defended Peter Beardsley, like we spoke about last week, and now this week, last week again, he's come out and defended Bernardo Silva for the tweet, for the image he put out.
To be
Did you
fair,
see it?
To be fair, yeah, Raheem Sterling came out and defended him as well, saying it's
Yeah.
stupid. And I actually think that's right, because it's, I mean, why is Kicker out getting involved in stuff like that, wasting everyone's time?
Exactly. But also, let me give you some counterpoints. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. A young black writer called Carlo Anka has said, and I quote, "Barnes makes it harder for me to live my life as a black man, both in the professional sense, trying to work in football, and in the personal one, trying to exist in the United Kingdom." Let me give you my 2 pence worth as a man of colour. Let me give you my 2 pence worth, right? I'm in WhatsApp groups, right, of people with mixed races, and we take the piss out of each other, right, about our cultural heritage, and we make sweeping generalizations, right? But that doesn't make us racist. It's only humour, or maybe it's in its basest form. I get that, but it's why comedians such as, say, Richard Pryor and Chris Rock are so popular. Listen,
because I mean, if you listen to what they're saying, I wouldn't say what he says about, like Chris Rock says about black people, because I couldn't.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, I mean, listen, what goes on, right? Listen, do you think all right? Let's just put it in some context here. All right, let's put it on training pitches, football clubs up and down the country, right? Around the world, or factories, or whatever, in the workplace, foundries, or whatever you want. Do you think that everybody's politically correct in the workplace? Do you think there's no homophobic or race? Let me finish. There's no homophobic, there's no racial banter flying around in the workplace, but not everybody's offended by it. Do you know what I mean? Clearly, Mendy wasn't. Hence why he sent a letter to the FA advocating for Silva. It's just. And I don't think Barnes should be getting castigated for this. John Barnes's opinion is it's not a football issue. It's a wider society's issue. Yeah. When we fix it in wider society, it will get fixed in football. I totally agree with him. He's just, people are jumping on the bandwagon with it. All right, because at first he was a pioneer for racism because of, that iconic picture of his back heeling the banana in his Liverpool kit on a game, right? And rightly so, he did so. I mean, he's the one that we should be listening to this guy, I mean, I, for one, and I know that you didn't agree with his comments about Beardsley, etc., but generally, on the whole, I think he's got a point. It is his consensus is that his consensus is that it's a society's issue, not a football one. You fix society, you'll fix the racism.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I worked with a black guy. He's from Jamaica, and every comment was about packy this, packy that, and you're like, I used to say to him, you can't, please don't say that in front of me, and B, how can you say that when you then turn round and complain about somebody being racist to you because of the colour of your skin? How could you have the cheek to complain about somebody being racist when you constantly denigrate another culture because of their race? You know what I mean? Another race.
Well, he's clearly an twat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this is a society. You're right. It is a society problem. Everybody has will be racist about everybody else virtually. There's very few groups that aren't. There isn't at least one racist in a group of friends.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I understand that. Look, I'm in a WhatsApp, right, with black people, white people, whatever, mixed group. It's like the United Nations, right? And we all have a laugh at each other's heritage. It's just a laugh. None of us are racist.
The
It's just
problem, the
it's just
problem
shits and
is,
giggles.
the problem is that this is where Kick It Out are not distinguishing between something that's meant to be offensive, like the monkey chants at what's his face the other week, Romelu Lukaku. That's meant to be
Yeah,
offensive. That's meant to offend him. Whatever they say about it being complimentary, it's not. It's meant to offend him. That's why they do it. They're trying to put him off his game,
right,
and they're by offending him. So they're deliberately
right,
being offensive to somebody making a
right.
joke with a friend about they look like somebody who's happens to be black. You know what I mean? Well, that's like me saying about Steph Curry. That kid looking like Steph Curry.
Yeah,
I mean, if he
yeah.
was
And
white, he wouldn't look like Steph Curry. Is that then offensive because I'm saying it when he's not? You know what I mean?
listen, my issue with Silver is I don't have a problem with it. As a man of color, I don't have a problem with it. He shouldn't have put that out there on Twitter for it to be exploited, for his actions to be misjudged. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
He shouldn't have put that on
Yeah, it should
Twitter.
have gone
That should have
private.
been
Yeah.
something private. That should have been private in a WhatsApp group or whatever, or, private wherever. And I'm okay with that. And then but then it's his own fault. He brought it on himself. I can understand that. For me, he's not a racist. They're
But
clearly
but
really
surely
good
Kick
friends.
It Out
You
shouldn't be
know,
getting involved.
I
Unless
agree.
Mendy
I agree.
says, because the only person who's got a right to
Yeah.
be offended, it's like when Harvey Elliott did that video of Harry Kane, taking a piss
Yes.
out of his
Yeah.
problem, his speech impediment and
Lisp.
that.
Lisp. Speech
That's all we have.
impediment. Yeah.
Yeah. The only person who's
Yeah.
got a right to be offended is Harry Kane. Anybody else, sorry,
Yeah.
but it's nothing to do with you. It's nothing to do with you. So unless
Absolutely.
Harry Kane comes out
Yeah.
and says, I really found that offensive, I don't think anybody else should be getting involved. And it's the same with Bernard Mendy and Silva. Unless Mendy's upset by it and offended by it, then it should be seen as what it is, a misjudged attempt at humour and just forgotten about. But people just want
Absolutely.
an excuse to be offended, really, sometimes. That's the problem.
Listen, it's not and let's put the caveat is it's not a subject to be laughed at, racism. Of
No,
course it's not.
exactly.
But we can't. We sometimes we've just got to just. There's no. You can't. The criteria can't be the same everywhere. Like you say, it's got to be. Case by case
yeah.
basis. You know.
And sometimes the problem is people are so busy being. Sometimes why can't you celebrate the differences as well as, realise that there's very few of them. There's nothing wrong with celebrating them as well. That I mean, it's to say someone's black. It shouldn't be seen as offensive to call someone black because if they are black, you know what I mean. Like we had.
Yeah.
It should be. They should. It should be something to be proud of.
Exactly. And the thing is, let's face it, that I think you'll find as well that image that he put up on Twitter was, I think it's culturally acceptable image in Spain or Portugal or both countries because it sells. It's a peanut brand.
Peanut, is it? I can't remember.
Brand.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen the picture before.
But
when I was there,
listen, I'm not being funny, right? As a private in joke, I can see that being really funny.
I've got to say, in Spain, they're not very good at race. They're not very good at judging what's
No, they're not.
offensive.
They're not. Yeah, exactly.
They do tend to.
Yeah, that wasn't a great reference point. But what I'm saying is that I can see the merits of that in a private WhatsApp group between friends.
If he's trying to offend him, that's one thing. But he's not. They're mates.
No. They're clearly good friends. They're thick as thieves.
I've had,
and they're good mates,
Yeah, I've been called worse by black friends that have said things to me about being white, and it's not an insult.
It's humour.
It's not offensive because it's just it's not meant to be offensive. Why should I be offended by it?
Chris Rock talks about crackers all the time. That's 99% of his stick. You know what I mean? It's like it's just. racial humour is hilarious. I'm sorry, but some people may not like it. The bleeding, these people who are. Some people may not like it. I get that, but it's funny.
It depends on what it is as well in the context. If it's meant to be nasty and hateful and stir up hate, that's one thing. But it's not. That wasn't what the intention of it.
Of course not. Yeah,
it's not like this is what I'm saying. The difference with this Romelu Lukaku, which is racism, they were deliberately trying to stir up hate and being nasty to put him off his game. So that's offensive. This is just two friends having a joke, and you've probably sent me worse in the past, and I've probably sent you worse in the past.
You said worse, exactly. And you know what? I don't even remember. That's how much offended I was. You know what I mean? I don't even remember.
I don't even know if I've sent you. I wouldn't know because it's not, because I know you wouldn't be meaning it in a way that's meant to offend me. So why would I?
Of course not. Of course not.
It's just like when you call names to each other. It doesn't matter that it's. I'm not talking. If it's when you're friends, you can call each other offensive names and stuff because that's the way lads.
It's fucking banter. It's banter.
So
and
long
if it's not meant to be.
Yeah, as long as you don't. If he's offended, then when you stop and apologise, then that's where it should be. That's where the line should be, is when it's made. Benjamin
Mendy is not offended. He wrote to the FA and said, "He's my mate."
None of us should be getting involved in it, and it should be between
them. Let's hope common sense will prevail.
That's why I haven't even written about it in the review of the day. I haven't mentioned it once because I just don't see it as an incident at all worthy of mention. I'd be, I just don't get it. I don't know why we're into. I thought we were talking about John Barnes. That's why I'm a bit confused why it's.
No, we are. No, because it's all.
I think sometimes he gets because he's well spoken. He's successful and that. I think they just like to pull them down, don't they? Not because he's
exactly.
Anybody who's well spoken and successful, the media likes to destroy.
They can't take these frigging journalists. They present whatever it is. They can't accept that he's only a footballer and he's and he's educated and he's like articulate. How dare he be articulate? He's only a footballer. You know what I mean? It's like it's embarrassing. It's like
we want Robbie Savage, not him.
Yeah, exactly. He makes them look stupid after these. When he goes on the TV, he makes them look silly. He destroys them. They can't handle it. Anyway, I'm gonna. Let's get on to something else. Now. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I can't. I love John Barnes, mate. I just don't like it when people. I can listen. People make mistakes. I get it with the Peter Beardsley thing, right? I can see his point of view, but listen, for me, he might have been he was a bit wrong there, but generally, that man is spot on, and I could listen to him all day long. I think he's a hero of mine. He's a role model of mine. I love the guy, man.
That explains your waist, then.
Huh?
Role model. That explains your waist.
Hey, mate, listen, I'm looking decent, mate. I'm looking. I've lost. I'm in the gym 5-6 times a week. That reminds me, I've got a Pilates class in
for the hand massage or something. Is that what you go to the gym for? You. Certainly not exercise. Certainly not exercise. Let's be honest.
I'm down to a 42-inch waist now, mate. Anyway, let's move on.
You'll be able to give me your cast-offs then, hand-me-downs.
Mate,
when you lose a bit more weight, you'll be all right.
Right. I need you to explain this Derby situation for me. I haven't got a clue what's going on.
How much can I explain?
I must be the only person on the planet that don't know. I've not given it any interest. What's going on? They had a night out and somebody got hurt.
It was long. It was more than a night out. They went out for a team bonding dinner. They were out all day. Right. They spent hundreds of pounds on. What was it? 65 bottles of Grey Goose or something like that. There's only a few. There's not even that many of them as well. Like they've been on. Depending on who you listen to, there's been a lot. They were also using on helium and hippie crack, as they call it, and sleeping tablets and booze, heavy drinking, and they were out all day. The club had arranged cars for them at the end of the night. They were sent home. The cars were told to go away. Some of them went off in the cars, but the ones for this one group said, "No, we don't need cars." That was Tom Lawrence. Oh, what's his name? The other lad who was arrested. Whose name's
Keogh?
No, Keogh was the one who was in the back of the car, one of the cars.
Okay, gotcha.
He's the club captain who told the cars to go. The club cars that didn't need them. He's the one that's supposed to be responsible, man. He was the one he had his card declined and all sorts, and apparently was a really horrible man to deal with. But all the staff and bars have really been ripping into him and that. Apparently, he was at the yeah. Anyway, yeah. So they drove home. 2 cars drove home, going down this road. One stops at an intersection. Obviously they're heavily drunk. Right. The other one was driving too fast, smashed into him, knocked him right across, knocked the first car right across the road with Richie Keogh in the back, who's been knocked unconscious, and then accidentally hits the accelerator and drives into a lamppost, the other car. So one car's smashed off in the side, the other one's then accidentally drove into it. He's that pissed, doesn't know what he's doing, hits the accelerator again, drives into a lamppost. And then they all get out and run off to go home, leave the cars, so fleeing the scene of an accident as well. Right, and then get home, realise there's no Keogh.
Right.
Where's the captain? So they go back and find there's ambulance and police there and that, and Keogh's being cut out the back of the car and he's smashed up his leg. Going to be out for 15 months with a damage, and apparently he'd been knocked unconscious, so he hadn't realised, because he'd been stretched out. Apparently he's been stretched out on the back. They had all kinds of kit in the back of the car, so on the back seat, so he's stretched out sideways.
Jeez.
So the 2 that were driving were arrested, breathalyzed, and failed miserably, obviously.
Right.
And Keogh's off to hospital to have his leg done, And obviously, I think everyone's seen the pictures and the audio recordings from the footballers who've been talking about it, and the conversation on the first responders.
I haven't. You've got to send me all this. I haven't heard any of this. I've given it no heed, and it's all a blur. I mean, it's all a big mystery to me. So I'm glad you're making it clearer for me. Now, what's going on with Derby? Are they sticking by their players?
Well, they've said they're going to rehabilitate them back in the side. Going to punish them and then rehabilitate them back in the team. For me, I would say you've got a club captain who's taken them all out, got them pissed, and taken the car and told the cars to go home for these group of lads.
Right.
And then they've all got in a car and driven, knowing they're pissed. There's no way that's forgivable. I'm sorry, they could have killed somebody. The fact is, the only person that's actually got hurt is Keogh, but it could have been anyone.
It could be an innocent. Yeah, I get it. But
it could have been a coachload of kids they could have ran into or anything. I mean, they were absolutely rat-ass. They had no idea what they were doing. They were completely off their heads. There's just no excuse for it. They're multi-millionaires. They could have got a car. You know what I mean? These weren't poor. These aren't poor footballers. Derby pay well.
So let me ask you this, right? The club captain says we don't want the club transport, and we're going to drive ourselves. And the other players didn't say no.
Most of the rest of them had gone home. There's only a few of them left. It was the group that had stayed for the full thing and then driven home.
Unbelievable.
Their excuse was it's only 5 minutes down the road. Well, it doesn't take 5 minutes to kill someone, does it? Obviously, as they've proven, they could have quite easily killed each other.
So Derby are going to stick with this club captain who made.
That's
it's not just.
That's what
just
they're
not
saying.
an error of It's not an error of judgment. It's basically he broke the law.
Well, the two of them ran away from more than two. But the two drivers actually ran off and left him in the back of the car. It was only that they noticed he was in there that they went back.
Now, I'm assuming these players are pretty good. That's why they're sticking with them. The players. I mean, I don't know what the quality of their players, but they need them.
Well, they obviously do think they're good enough, or they wouldn't be bothering, would they? Because let's face it, that's what it's come down to. Football's got no morals, or they'd have been sacked already.
Yeah,
the only excuse that can possibly be is if they've decided not to prejudice the result of any police investigation, and they're going to wait until after that before they take action. But I'll guarantee that's not what's going to happen.
So you'd have so much respect for Derby County, and if they come out and said these no marks have broken the law, they've done a despicable act that we can't forgive them for, and we're sacking them. We want nothing to do with them.
Well, I'm not being funny, but like the state they got in anyway. You know, when they're supposed to be professional footballers mid-season, it's not like they've got a huge gap between games. They're playing a couple of days later. So, you know, it's not like they've got a huge gap. So, on that basis alone, they should be saying, you don't deserve a contract, do you?
Yeah. It's just...
Let alone what they've done, then go and drive home as well.
Shame on the players, for sure, but shame on Derby County as well if they reintroduce them into the fold, because, in my opinion, some things aren't forgivable.
I don't see the problem with them sacking them. They've got, if it was me or you in a job in a factory, did that, I doubt that we'd have a job the next day, would we?
Well, we'd have criminal records. We wouldn't have a job the next day. Our future would be compromised for sure. But these guys, as you say, they're multi-millionaires.
Above the law.
And exactly, they really are. It really is. I mean, they'll get their criminal. I mean, are they going to go to jail? Because, drunk drivers, they go to jail, don't they?
Well, sometimes they do. They should do, these ones, because this isn't a couple, this isn't a slight, just slightly over the limit. This is many times over the limit.
Well, let's see if they get to jail, because that should be, if me and you did that, we'd be in jail.
Definitely. 100% if it was anybody else, a non-footballer would be in jail.
Let's not try and jump the gun. Let's hope they get their just rewards. All right, mate. Talking about messes, I suppose we better talk about Spurs. Oh my God, what's going on there?
Now, how much can we say
without
getting? Yeah, it's Footballers' Wives, isn't it? Or Dream Team? What was it? Was it Dream Team? Yeah, Dream Team, where they wore the purple kit. Yeah. Remember that one on Sky?
Was it Ronnie O'Sullivan's missus on that, wasn't it?
Aye.
Layla Rouse, I think it was.
I can't remember, mate. I only watched it to see if it was our footage they were going to be using that week or not. Because because they use purple. You know why they use purple, don't you? Because they could then change any colour kit to the purple. That's why they chose purple, because it was able to cover like red, blue, whatever. You could just change it to purple, fine, without any problems.
Oh, fair enough. I didn't know that, mate.
Yeah, and a lot of times it was our players that that they took, because they took footage from real Premier League matches. A lot of times it was our games. Right. The only reason I'd watch it sometimes just to see if it was our game, one of our games, see if I could recognise it. Like,
yeah, all right, fair enough. All right, mate. Yeah, what's going on there?
Yeah. There's just loads of backroom.
I don't know how much. I don't know how much we can talk about either, because there's rumours coming out left, right, and centre of like
the players are all unhappy with each other. I think that's about all we can really go into in it without getting a gossipy column about it.
Yeah, we don't want to go all Deirdre and stuff. So
and Potts is not happy either, but he wasn't happy at the start. So this has just made things worse, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think he weren't happy because he didn't get his move, and now the players are playing up, and he's pissed off at them. and it's just the results are suffering. I mean, although they were lucky to get a win against Southampton, going 10 men down, but yeah,
And they look
it's going to get a lot.
At the moment as well. They've been playing terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's for sure. I wonder who's going to be there in January and then at the end of the season. I don't think Poch will stay that long, to be honest. I think United or Madrid will get him before long.
I don't understand why either of them had won him, though. That's what I don't understand. I mean, how many players do you see that have improved under his tutelage?
Yeah, and I remember you saying he's bought some real donkeys as well.
But look, even put that aside and say that's not. If you could say that's not, you might want to say that's not his fault. There's a recruitment team. Well, yeah, but he's still picking them. But forget that. Just look at the quality of the players. How many have improved? I just can't see, other than Kane, I cannot see a player that's improved under his guidance.
Yeah, but to be fair, he's kind of a glamour name. He's a name that's relevant, and there isn't many. Who would you in world football at the moment? Who else is there? When Madrid need a manager, when United, manager now because they're top of the league. But what I'm saying is, United need a manager. Who do you go to? I mean, really, who is there out there that hasn't got a job and you can get who's gettable? Poch is he's still got to pay 30-odd million to get him away from Spurs. And people think he's worth it.
Yeah, I don't get that. But when you say it like that, I was trying to think of somebody else, and Gallardo's the only one I can think of. I'd go for him. And you don't know who that is, do you?
No, it's the Gallardo, the Argentinian guy.
Oh, I'm impressed.
See? There you go, mate.
I must have mentioned it to you before.
No, actually. What's his name? The Real Betis manager.
Oh yeah,
as well,
Kike Setien. Yeah, he's available, isn't he? Yeah, good point. Good thinking. I'd forgotten about him.
And shut you up, didn't it?
To be fair, it is 2:30 here, whereas for you it's still early. So
yeah,
I've got an excuse to be tired.
It's
like I'm flagging now because we were supposed to be doing this early, and I've been waiting for hours. It's like
you should be thanking me, Burke. You get an extra meal in now.
I'll be going as soon as we've finished. I'm going to bed.
All right, mate.
No, definitely not eating now.
About,
I'm tired.
Mate, let's talk about Newcastle.
Newcastle.
It's so sad. Yeah. It's so sad to see a club like that in the doldrums. I like them. They're iconic, and I just hope for their fans' sake, and he sells up and to Florida Consortium.
To anyone, just
Peter Kenyon.
Get out, just go, please, just go. I find it. People say that about poor Newcastle and that, but I can't see that. All I can see is that fat, horrible Mike Ashley, and I just, I'm trying to be polite here, but I just detest the man. Every time I see him, I just want to punch him. He's just got that face, hasn't he? Just really is. When you see him going in, do you remember when he got out that huge wad of £50 notes, and you thought, I wonder which kid sweated to provide you with that wad of notes?
Yeah. Some sweatshop in Bangladesh or something.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Paid for that.
I mean, put yourself in the Newcastle fans' position, right? Walk a mile in their shoes.
It's horrible.
If you had that fella, it must be. The only hope.
It's not just them. To be fair, Rangers are still fighting him.
Yeah, but you're right.
He's causing them a lot of problems as well because they can't even. You're not seeing they can't even sell their kits again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
the man's just a menace.
He's a little pantomime villain, isn't he? Really? He's just not. I'm being polite and kind, but it's just like, can you imagine? Like the only hope the Geordie fans had was like, they were clinging on to was Rafa. And now it must be excruciating.
It makes you wonder if he does it deliberately. Because he did with Pardew, didn't he? He kept hanging on to him deliberately.
Yeah, listen.
Just to antagonise the fans. That's how it seems.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him past him. He's a billionaire, right? And he's, like you say, he's getting his free advertising out of the club and for his other businesses.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So he might be doing it. I mean, it's
just kind of like sticking the middle finger up, isn't it? And then when the protests get a bit too much, he just pretends he's about to sell again. He just talks about selling the club, and the next thing the protests die down because obviously they don't want to jinx it. Because it's not going to sell if they're protesting, is it? And then he just goes back to sticking the middle finger up at them, going, you thought I was going to sell? Don't be stupid. And they can't win.
Yeah, it makes me think he's never going to. I'm
convinced. I said it when the offer from what's her name? She wasn't actually
Amanda Staveley.
Yeah, she wasn't actually making the offer, but it was her it was a consortium she was doing the negotiating for. Said in the time, I don't see any, and everything that's been said coming out from that consortium suggests he had no intention of selling it to them, and he was just wasting their time. And not just them; they were just one of about 4, I think, was 3 or 4 consortiums at that time that were negotiating, and all of them have pretty much of the opinion that he was wasting their time and just being an arse, and had no intention of selling.
Well, he's told the Florida-based consortium he needs 10 days he'll have his decision in 10 days, and that was last week. So I think there's another week left. So we'll see. Watch this space.
I just don't see it. I think he's just being an arse.
I think the deal is 125 million up front, and then it's payments over 3 years.
Nothing to him. He just went and bought it out of his pocket.
He'll go for it. Yeah, I don't think he'll go for it. Even with the free advertising that they've offered him, I just don't think they'll go for it. I don't think it's juicy enough for him. No. All right, mate. Look, I think you wanted to talk about the Club World Cup.
No, I was just saying they've finally they've named the stadium that we'll be playing in. So the Education City Stadium, which has been built for the World Cup in 2022. And it holds 40,000 people, but it's currently holding the World Athletics Championships, and there's like 40 people in the stands every day. So
I read about
really
that.
Doesn't seem like
nice.
It's the I mean, Doha's a tiny little place. So if anybody wants to go to the game, they'll have no problem getting tickets.
Oh yeah, I've been to Doha, mate. There's not much to do, but mate, it's a cultural centre now, so it's changed probably
so
now.
Have you got any advice for anyone who wants to travel out there for the game?
No, mate. I was asleep in the hotel. I was asleep in the hotel. Great hotels, great food, great hotels. I mean, you venture out. I didn't really venture out, but
don't go there. Don't intend to go to places like the UAE afterwards. Is probably the big thing.
Yeah.
Because you might not get in with a Qatar stamp.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, honestly, I love the Emirates because for me, life is all about food, and
it shows. Yeah.
It's bountiful, and I remember we went for that meal in Dubai. It was how much? Jesus Christ, how much did we order? How many different dishes did we order? And it came up to what, about, I don't know, 20, 30 pounds maximum, not even that.
It wasn't even
that. It was ridiculous. Yeah. It was like 15, 20
that's
pounds.
That's what I don't get. People
nothing.
Always say to me, isn't it expensive to live out there? I'm like, only if you're an idiot and go to the expensive, the touristy places. Yeah. You go to like a proper restaurant, you can eat for a week. On one meal's enough for a week. Normal people, they do eat here a lot. Yeah, and it's cheap.
And look at all those I've just like those taxi drivers, right? They don't earn a king's ransom, but they're eating out every day. They never cook because it's so cheap to eat out.
Oh, yeah,
it's like
peanuts.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, it's
but
like
one thing for the
Ed3
UAE
was talking about he's flying out to the US. He's gone to the US to do a pilgrimage to follow where Ed2 was from, to go looking around all his old haunts and all that. Seriously, no, he's looking around all the places. He's even got a special map made up for him. Ed2's made him up a map and everything. You think I'm joking? I said it on the I said it. Yeah, it's hero worship. You know what it is. Old people, he's a bit mental, like And that.
Or like you do me.
60. Yeah, no, I was thinking the other way round.
Like you worship me. Yeah,
right, something like that. Yeah. Anyway, like he's a bit old. He's going a bit senile and that, and he's decided to go out to San Francisco for his 75th birthday. So it's a special treat for him. It's nice. Probably the only person there wearing a Blackpool shirt, but yeah, he'll be happy. Anyway,
diapers.
Yeah.
Or nappies, yeah.
Nappies, yeah. Yeah, adult nappies.
Catheter.
Yeah, but he was complaining about the price of cigarettes in the UK, and he was saying they're quite cheap. And I said, how much are they? I was like, here they're they start at 3-4 dirhams, which is less than a quid.
Right.
And they've put the price up recently to 3 or 4 dirhams. I was saying, I only looked because they were saying about it. The language was choice out of him and Ed 25 about that. I was like, I don't know how much they cost. Obviously, not smoking.
But in all seriousness, they have put a lot of money into the Emirates to.
It's very cheap to live.
Modernise it. It's an amazing place. I mean, yeah, exactly. But
yeah, if you go to Qatar, you won't get in here.
Yeah.
So you were supposed to be giving travel advice for going to Doha, though, not here, because you've been there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Doha. I spent 2 days in a hotel because I was coming from somewhere where I was tired, and anyway, I got a Pilates class to go to. You got anything else to say?
I'll find something if it'll stop you going. just pull your day. Though I've been filling just because you didn't seem ready to you didn't say about ending it. So I've just been trying to drag it out because I didn't know what to talk about. Then you had something else to move on to.
This one's been fairly natural as it goes. I'm quite impressed.
Yeah, so we've done then. We've got them all done, have we?
We are all done, mate. The list is complete. All right,
so
Buttercup.
No, I've checked the notes. I've got nothing else, so we're all done.
Good girl. All right, then. I think it's the put your finger on that stop button.
You're not going to sing us out, with an outro?
I promise I will sing next week. I promise.
I'm waiting to hear your rendition of when you'll start again. I'm waiting for your rendition of "You'll Never Walk Alone." So I had to put my teeth back in then.
I promise I'll start with that next week. How's that?
It's not for me. Was it Berg who wants you singing? Was it Berg? I can't remember. He's your fan anyway because he thinks you're funny.
Berg, I will sing.
I'm a bit worried about him.
I promise.
I'm a bit worried about him, to be honest.
Don't you be knocking Berg, mate. He's got a taste, obviously. Anyway,
yeah, something like that.
I'm off to Pilates.
Go and have your mani pedi.
There you go then. Au revoir, everybody.
Take care.